Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world. Pull up a chair. It's time to get down to the business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black, and I am broadcasting to you tonight from an undisclosed location. We are in a cheap little hotel room in a cheap little hotel. We are not doing anything other than what we need to be doing right now, so you are welcome to join us. I'm in a cheap little hotel room, in a cheap little hotel, in a cheap little city, very small place, doing what I need to do here because on tonight's program, we're going to be discussing why 2021 will be harder for women than 2020 was. And I know you thought if you made it through 2020 alive that you were doing pretty good. I hate to tell you, you are not out of the woods yet, not by a long shot. But particularly some of the things that I've seen made it very clear what was happening and made it very clear that it's going to be a whole lot harder than some people gave it credit for being. So, what I want to do here is first and foremost, without further ado, we're going to get right into exactly why it is that I've said what I've said. And the reason why I've said it here is because I took a look at what you got going on out there. I took a look at it and man, oh man, it is a sad sight. That's the first thing I got to tell you. It's a sad sight. I was going around I'll go ahead and just tell you, in Atlanta. Let me tell you here, the situation is grim, ladies. The situation is grim. I don't know if somebody told you it was going well. I assure you it's not. I don't know if someone told you that things were going the way they needed to. Ladies, if you thought 2020 was rough on you, wait till 2021 settles in. Wait till 2021 settles in. This is the aftershock. I sat and I watched on New Year's night. This is footage I took from New Year's night. This is me. For those of you who are in the know, you know where it's at. The place was popping. There were literally thousands of people. And man, it was sad. It was sad to see because the ladies came prepared. They came ready for something to happen. They came ready for something to happen, and all they found were a bunch of little raggedy, moist mama's boys with their man purses. By the way, I couldn't help but notice that. The ladies came dogged and determined to attract some men. What we saw instead was a sad sight as the fellas walked by with their purses. I guess that's what they do in Atlanta. The ladies didn't have a bunch of purses, but as you can see, the men came equipped with their handbags. I don't really understand it. Perhaps I need to book a session. But in any case, the ladies were looking. The ladies were waiting and expecting in this sad parade of mama's boys, single mother cast-offs, and disciples. This is what they found on New Year's night. And the footage I've got here goes on and on and on, which is why I'm playing it for you here. I've got clip after clip. And I'm saying to myself here, ladies, when the virus hit and devastated the global economy, and you were telling yourselves, well, it's all right, I will just settle for a beta. Ladies, the betas ain't picking nothing up right now. They would rather stand around with each other and molest each other's skinny jeans. Is what they would rather be doing. This is footage that I took. And it was sad to see because The fellas were showing more rear end than the females were. That was the other thing. The fellas were showing more rear end than the females. The fellas were showing off more than the chicks, literally showing their rear ends more than the females. So I did something I don't like to do. I don't like to go around. I don't like to really meet people like that. But I said, I'm going to get out here and I'm going to spend a few days going into 2021. And as you can see, the fellas are wearing pink and showing their panties. The females are wearing pink, but guess what? The fellas in Atlanta are wearing pink and showing their panties too. This is why the ladies would rather sit by the wall and text each other. That's literally what was going on. Literally what was going on. Some of the folks can come up in their luxury cars and whatnot. Yeah, a few of those, but let me just tell you, this is a sad parade. Ladies, if you thought it was rough in 2020, because you're still dealing with the fallout and the ramifications of it, if you're telling yourselves that there's going to be a guy, hey, I'll just settle for the corniest beta I can get. Ladies, they done checked out. They done checked out. They're not music producers, they're lingerie producers, apparently. Now, I was raised in the old school, but you know what we say about ladies who talk to fellas through the window of a car. Some of my older ladies understand you don't do that, but in Atlanta, this is what they doing. So, all right. This is what they're doing as they're sitting out there. And by the way, these cars, they're fellas sitting in the cars with other fellas. Let me tell you that first of all. These were fellas sitting in the car with other fellas. Downtown Atlanta, New Year's night, the fireworks are going off, and it's fellas sitting in the car with other fellas. Ladies, they're not on their way to giving up on y'all. They done gave up on y'all. Let me tell you. Too many of you were living by harlot rules, and they just gave up on you. They just gave up on you. They ain't even trying to have it. They're not even trying to have it. This is where you are at right now. It's a sad, sad situation. It really, really is. And I sat there and watched it for hours go down like that. Make sure that you share tonight's program. YouTube has us under a shadow ban, but you all want to go ahead and do that. You want to go ahead and do that. So I'm walking around, and as you can see, I took several trips through the parking garage, around the building, up and down the floors, because I wanted to see what was happening. I wanted to see what's going on. And here the ladies are of various sizes coming back to the hotel. Now, you saw that was a group of 5 females. Here's another one. She's obviously dressed, ready to rumble. So you just passed a squad of females. And here comes the squad of males. This is what your single mother epidemic has produced in Atlanta. Ladies, if you thought 2020 was rough on you, 2021 is going to give you the people's elbow. It's going to give you the DDT. The ladies came figuring that they were going to get picked up by something, and there wasn't nothing to pick them up. It was sad. And here come the would-be alphas that single mothers have produced in your black Mecca. As I said, that blue is his draws. The ladies came for a man. Well, guess what? A bunch of the fellas came for one too. Young dudes who came they looking for somebody to tour their body parts to. How many of you ladies think that your girlfriend's cranking out these boys with no fathers in the home? How many of you thought that was a great idea? How many of you think this is wonderful? I'm asking you questions that you better be asking yourselves here, because right now you told yourself that if all else fails, then you will just settle for a faithful beta, and that would be it. Ladies, it ain't gonna go the way you thought. And as you can see, as we walk around here, as I'm going through the lobby, by this time right here, there's a bunch of folk running around, and I'm just walking around to say, okay, let me see if I can find the couples in the hotel. Let me see if I can find the black couples. And understand, it was nothing but a bunch of black folk there. It was nothing but a bunch of black folk. I mean, there were a few white people, but 99% of the people at the hotel in Atlanta, you all know which one it is, downtown Atlanta, 99% of the folks there were black. 99%. 99. And I'm looking around here and I'm like, okay, where are the couples at? Let's see if we can find some of the black couples. Because I would see people, and this is what I saw. I saw females, some young, attractive ladies, hair weaves and whatnot, notwithstanding. Young, attractive ladies, and as you can see, they're standing by themselves. The girls are entertaining each other. This is a squad of them, and they're over there taking selfies with each other. A squad of females, New Year's night, and is after the ball is dropped, and they're standing around taking selfies with each other. Taking selfies with each other. Now, it wasn't because the lobby's empty because it's way late at night, and they closed off everything. But what I'm telling you is there was a great number of people there. It just wasn't nothing happening, is what I'm trying to tell you. I walked all over the place. You see the females, you see them walking by. They just finished taking selfies of themselves in various corners of the hotel. Once again, that was what happening on the inside. This was happening on the outside. Once again, the females, I mean, as you can see with her booty cheeks out here, she's dressed ready to rumble, and yet she's dressed ready to go and ain't nothing to do except start taking pictures with another female. These gals are ready and dressed to get male attention, and there's nobody to appeal to but other females. And these were not LGBT chicks. They weren't. But this is what you're up against. Oh, hell, I done blew my cover. Oh, hell, I didn't mean to show that. I blew my cover. All right. In any case, here you go, ladies. Strong and Independent, if you want to know what the final receipts of Strong and Independent came in as, it's a bunch of women walking with other women on New Year's night. It's a bunch of females hanging out with a bunch of other females on New Year's night. A bunch of young females hanging out with each other. Now, yeah, I did every once in a while, you might find a black couple, but notice the black couples didn't look the way that the mother folk did. It wasn't the skinny jeans wearing dudes. It wasn't them. When you did see a black couple, it wasn't the skinny jeans variety. It wasn't the skinny jeans pants sagging variety. She found the one dude who wasn't doing that. Baby, all I can tell you is hang on to him for dear life. Hang on to him for dear life. You better not let him go. There's not a bunch of other options out there. You better hang on to him for dear life. The final receipts of Strong and Independent, I don't need no man or in. It's just a bunch of lonely females. And here, you got some white girls. Now, these are white girls playing around with the statue of Andrew Young down there in the middle of downtown. They're sitting up there playing there. But by the way, it's not looking a hell of a whole lot better over there with them. Talk about Sex in the City and Desperate Housewives. Even for the white females, it ain't looking a hell of a lot better over there with them. Competition is fierce. Now, understand, these are a squad of white girls who are running to the hotel that has 99% black people in it. 5-star hotel with 99% black people in it. And the white girls are running theirs. That tells you if they looking for a man to be with, it ain't gonna be but one type of male. Ladies, the competition is not fierce. The competition is absolutely vicious. It's absolutely vicious. No, it has not been the case to this magnitude. Knock it off. Stop trying to pretend you're smart. You're not. Give it up. You're not. This isn't your opportunity to try to pretend you know. Knock it off. As you tour the building, as you go around here, and you're outside here, your size 14s and 16s, colorfully dressed. The fellas who want it got the pick of the litter if they're willing to be flexible with their standards. I found this gentleman He was sitting around and stuff. He found him a rainbow, a graffiti painted size 16, 14, 16 he could hang out with. So he got in where he fit in. And I'm looking around and I'm saying to myself, okay, how far will this go? Oh, it goes pretty far. And you know why? Because ladies, you don't have the leverage to get these guys to get their weight up. You don't have the leverage for it. I mean, either he's going to come desiring to do that or it ain't going to happen. Because there are entirely too many women out here who don't have anybody protecting or providing for them. So they got a choice between basically forming a harem of women or forming a harem under a man. They can either join a group with a bunch of women and no men, or they can choose one man and join a group of women who are under one man. That's what's going on. As you can see here, it's multi-ethnic, multi-racial. New Year's night, downtown Atlanta. It's multi-ethnic and multi-racial of female loneliness is what's going on. Do you all see how long my footage is kept running here, by the way? I literally could have done this all night if I wanted to. If a fella is willing to be liberal with his standards, flexible with his standards, he can have himself a little dirty little harem if he wants one. I don't know how much leverage these college-educated women tell themselves they have. I don't know how much leverage they think. Ladies, Pookie and Ray Ray are booked for the next couple of years. Do you understand that? Even Pookie and Ray Ray are booked for the next couple of years. They used to say, get in where you fit in. I don't see how you're going to get in. I don't see how you're going to get in. Even the little ugly chicks are having trouble. And I wanted to keep this shot right here because I wanted to show you that, by the way, if you think that you're going to be able to get these fellas to raise their standards for you, if they're not already inclined to do so, hell no. The other thing is these dudes. I mean, especially these old fellas. Y'all know I done told y'all about them. These old dudes, I mean, y'all, this dude here, he thinks he is ballin'. I mean, big pimpin'. I mean, you saw him, boy. He's got he's hitting the swisher and everything, boy. I mean, he is big ballin' with his Becky, ain't he? Man, it's rough. It's rough. I don't even know what to tell you. It's rough out here. It's rough out here. I don't have a bunch of good news to give you. I don't have a bunch of good news to tell you. I'm just here to tell you that going into the new year, ladies, if you thought 2020 was rough, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's going to be a long, hard, ugly slog is what it's going to be. It's going to be a very long, very hard, very ugly slog. And the reason for it is because you don't have any leverage. You don't have any leverage. There is no real incentive to the majority of these fellas to be producers. And that's what every woman wants. But the problem is there's not a whole lot of incentive on their part to produce. There's too many females out here. The market is saturated, is what I'm trying to tell you. The market is saturated. It is completely and totally and utterly saturated. Completely. I'm not saying it because it sounds cute. I'm saying it because it's the reality. I'm saying it because this is where we actually are right now. And by the way, Atlanta was just a metaphor. Atlanta was only a metaphor for what's going on out here. You can see this everywhere. You can see this in a bunch of other places. Atlanta is a worst case scenario, but it is far from the only case scenario. 2021 is going to be rough for ladies because I would say that you can't call the fellas bluffs, but there's no bluff to call. What do you do when you threaten somebody with withholding sex and they didn't even come for sex? Or there's a bunch of other females who are so desperately lonely, you don't have the ability to withhold. And understand, these are fellas who, the girls are just sitting around. They're walking in these sad little squads like defeated soldiers returning from the battlefield. Some of them running from the battlefield. And I just think it's rather ironic. You see these women walking like they're on the run, and these are the males walking behind them like a pack of wolves, but they weren't trying to talk to them. The ladies kept going up into the hotel, and as you can see, this sad parade of lost boys and broken manhood is slinking back off. "2021 is going to be hard on you. It's going to be rough on you because the economy is not going to recover anywhere nearly as quickly as you tell yourselves. The economy is not going to recover nearly as quickly as you tell yourselves, and joining forces with men, it's a super tight situation right now. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. What I see are a bunch of females who, whether they look nice or don't, ladies, you're on your own. Ladies, you're on your own. The previous generation, 2-3 generations of single mothers have left you with no manhood, not enough manhood material for even 5% of you. You are on your own at this point. As a group, they didn't tell you this. They didn't tell you this. You're on your own. I don't think there's enough of these producers out here for y'all to even form a proper harem with them. It's like, dudes got real stuff to take care of. They don't really have the time to sit around with you. And everywhere I went, as you can see, I kept seeing this. Groups of females having to get by with each other. Sitting around with each other, playing wallflowers with each other. She got legs, but ain't nothing she's interested in trying to holler at her. What the hell do? You go to the gym, and even for the ones who are keeping themselves presentable, but it is obvious what's going on. It's obvious what's going on. Yeah, she comes up with her miniskirt and the dudes are bringing their purses. The ladies are walking up with their miniskirts on, trying to show their femininity, and the dudes are walking up with their handbags. Ladies, where's your leverage? I'm asking a simple question. Where's your leverage? Where do you think it is? Where do you think it's going to come from? What do you think it's going to be? I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news. I am telling you and bringing you the video evidence in the Black Mecca of America, and this is what was going down in downtown Atlanta New Year's night. I know, because that's me working the camera. And as you can see, the ladies are sitting by the wall. They ain't trying to holler, and nobody's trying to holler at them, and they're not trying to holler at nobody. It basically was a full hotel of wasted trips. Basically, there was nothing happening. It's a bunch of dudes literally walking around, sagging their pants and smoking some weed, and a bunch of females going to the bar, going to the valet, going to the bar, going to that damn Ferris wheel, going to the bar, going back to the valet again in an endless circle. You could basically just follow them around in a circle the whole night. That's what was going on. Basically just a circle. I'm explaining to you, ladies, 2021 is going to be harder than 2020 was. You need protection. You need provision. And these are the only things you really got looking at, because everybody who wanted to pretend that sex was a game and making babies was cute, well, your babies are grown and helpless. You don't want a producer. You don't want that. You need it. Right now, you need men who are able to produce, and you ain't got it. Most of these fellas are as helpless as you are. 2021 is going to be harder than 2020 was. Doesn't matter how good you look, doesn't matter how nice you look, doesn't matter how presentable you are. That's not going to help you. Not now. Not now. They're standing by the wall and looking as sick and sad as ever. They're standing by the wall and looking as sick and sad as ever with no leverage whatsoever. Put on your tight pants, put on your pink pants, put on your hot pants, put on your bustier, put on your wonder bra, let it all hang out. Let your various body parts wiggle and jiggle. You can do whatever you want to do, but what I'm telling you is that those things aren't really gonna work now. Because you don't have a market to take it to. Not a big enough market. Ladies, it's a buyer's market right now. For the men. Not for the women. It's a buyer's market for the men. A bunch of you ladies, you got laid off. A bunch of you have lost your jobs. A bunch of you have been put on part-time shifts for jobs and they ain't never coming back. You need men. You need men who are ready, able, and willing to produce, not a year from now, not 2 years from now, not 5 years from now, getting his damn act together. You need him to be ready-made right now. Instant producer. Just add water. And as you can see, I mean, they're going by in squads. They're not walking, they're running. They're literally on the run with the men behind them. I use men advisedly. The males are behind them. But you see what's happening? Downtown Atlanta. No, Negro, that's not my Escalade. Somebody was trying to dry snitch on me earlier. No. I've never owned a gray car. Stop eye hustling. In any case, here are your bastions of masculinity in Atlanta, showing more rear end than the females are. Not interested in the girls. You know why? Because they have nothing to offer them. I don't blame them for just slinking off like snails. They got nothing to offer these women. They've got nothing to offer these females. They don't have anything to offer. And they know it. So I want to know, how many of you women out here understand how dire the situation is right now? How many of you thought that you were going to be able to show some flesh and wiggle some skin, and that if worse came to worse, you would take Cedric the Entertainer as long as he got some benefits? How many of you figured that you were going to screw over the boys, you were going to screw over the men, but you were going to walk away unscathed? How many of you ladies thought that that was going to be the end result of this interpersonal gender treachery? How many of you thought that was going to be the case? I started the business because I wanted to have a place where I could exhaustively explore interpersonal power dynamics and our relations between individuals and the most powerful power dynamic that there is. And ladies, I'm telling you right now, you don't have any power in the society anymore. We talk about how strong sex is. I literally went from floor to floor in this place, and let me tell you, when you got to go down 70 flights of stairs, that ain't fun. But it didn't matter whether you were in the lobby, the valet, around the place, at Hooters, a Hard Rock Cafe. It doesn't matter where you were. Pity Patties, the Poke Room. Want to say that was the name of it if I'm wrong about it there. Ladies, what you gonna do? Oh, the Poke Spot. That's the name I was trying to remember. The Poke Spot. Which, by the way, all right, Atlanta. Just a bunch of females who were looking for men and wound up hanging out with each other on New Year's night, dressed to get male sexual attention, and the only place that they could actually exert it was with other females. How long you think it's going to be before eventually you go from spending time with another female to flirting with another female to becoming so desperate and lonely? Well, in the words of Sigmund Freud, the only unnatural sex is none at all. And people all night long, I saw them parading around with each other, pairs of females. I mean, I literally could count the pair of men and women that I saw in Atlanta on one hand. It's got nothing to do with the LGBT contingent. It is about the fact that you have decimated, you have killed the boys in their cribs. You have destroyed what would have been your future leaders, your future male leaders. You snuffed them out in the crib is what you did. You snuffed them out in their cribs. You destroyed them before they could even walk. And now they do not desire to lead. They don't desire to provide and protect for you. And even if they did desire to do so, which they don't, but even if they did, they don't even have the tool set necessary to be able to do it. You see, in order for a man to protect and provide for you, he has to be hardwired to sacrifice. He's got to be hardwired to say to himself, when I get up this morning, I am going to produce. Now, I could spend 100% of the benefits of that production on myself, but I am instead going to spend that being a protector and provider for someone else. Well, by definition, that requires sacrifice. That requires sacrifice in order for a man to do that. You got to sacrifice. And ladies, you couldn't find fellas in sufficient enough numbers to sacrifice for you in 2020. 2021 is going to be hell. I'm just telling you right now. I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I've seen. I'm telling you what I've seen. Not what I believe, not what I hope, not what I might think could happen down the road if things don't change. I'm telling you what's already happening. I'm telling you what's already underway. There is no, I don't have any good news. There is no good news. You want to tell me what needs to change? Ladies, I didn't bring you here to tell you, well, here's the bad news and here's what you can do. I came here to tell you, ladies, the situation is messed up. Well, Jason, what do we do? What you asking me for? You wanted to have a generation of males that you could dominate, and when you couldn't find those previously, you created them between your own legs. You gave birth to the emasculated, weak, leaderless, unwilling to provide for males that you wanted to dominate. Congratulations. The males are now emasculated, domesticated, and dominated. And it is you who are now more oppressed than ever. Because now you need that type of leadership in crisis. We're experiencing a crisis right now, and you need to have men who have answers. You need to have men who have answers, men who are interested in answers, men who are interested in sacrificing, men who are thinking about what helps you before they think about what helps them. And ladies, that was why I was saying here before that you're on your own. You're on your own because this is what you fought for. I have always taught you all, ladies, if you do not submit to an intelligent man's leadership, then you will submit to a foolish man's misleadership. That's it. But you will submit. You will submit. Now, you can choose which one you submit at, or it will be chosen for you. But the bottom line is you will submit. Whether you think it's a great idea, whether you think it's a odd idea, whether you think it's an awful idea, understand you're going to do this. You're going to do this because we still live in a savage world. We still live in a savage environment. You can change laws to make a society more civil, but you can't change the weather. You can't change diseases. You can't change natural disasters. You can't change lack of resources. You can dictate laws between people, but you cannot dictate how the earth is going to treat us all. And if the earth decides to declare war on us, if the earth decides that it is going to make a move that challenges our ability to survive, then you as a woman will need a man. You need to have that logical, mechanical, linear-minded individual who has 50 to 70% more muscle mass than you, who is far less concerned about pain and discomfort, and who is hardwired to sacrifice for your benefit. But the women have said they're not going to be cooperative and that they're going to defy us. And as you can see, some fellas here have already let you know, hey, they're out the game. They've already let you know. This is going to be the situation that you will be under, that you are already at. And I know a bunch of you have already seen it. As a matter of fact, in the various cities that you're in. Because before now, it was a game. Before now, it wasn't your literal survival that was at stake. Before now, that's not what it was. Let us be very, very clear about what it is that we're seeing. I don't want you to be under any misnomers or misconceptions. I want us to be very, very clear about what it is you're seeing. You are seeing a group of women who are looking for protectors and providers. Why do you think they came there? Ladies, when you say that you're looking for a man, you're looking to mingle with the men, you are saying, I am looking for a protector and provider. And they went there to this place that's supposed to be expensive to get into. And okay, the socioeconomics should filter it down to your best and brightest and most productive and the most eligible and the men who have the most disposable income and most willing. And what you really found were a bunch of man babies is what you really found. You really found a bunch of overgrown children because your mothers and grandmothers raised them to be. And now in this moment of crisis, you're sitting there on New Year's night. You're ready to start the new year off right. You're like, okay, let's go ahead. I'm ready to take myself off the market. Things is too hot out here. I need a man. And the fellas are sitting up here saying, heifer, please. It's the fellas giving you 2 snaps, competing with you over who can look the prettiest, who can look the daintiest. That's why I've never been a guy who was sitting up here really worried about trying to dress a certain way. Yes, you need to dress like a man. You don't dress like a child, and you don't dress like some convict in prison auditioning for a boyfriend. No, you don't do that. But you need, as far as being a fashion plate and being all cute, no, that's never been me. But you do have that in places like Atlanta, Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York. A bunch of fellas competing with the females over who will be more seductive and who will be better dressed to be attractive. But just understand, ladies, you should have to be told this, when a male is concerned about fashion and being fashionable, he ain't gonna produce for you. He's got too much of his resources tied up and too much of his interest occupied in producing for himself. You all wanted a bunch of little emasculated little boys that you thought were cute. When a girl is in 3rd or 4th grade, she can prefer boys who are cute, males who are cute. By the time she gets to middle school, high school, she's supposed to understand it's about resources. And damn sure by the time she gets out of grade school, she needs to understand it's about resources. And the fellas who can provide that and generate that. That's what she needs to be concerned about. And it's a sad situation that your protector and provider class has been completely neutered. And they're standing around helpless and hopeless with their rear ends literally hanging out. And let's just be very, very clear. When a male walks around with his rear end hanging out, that is a female mating gesture. Yes, I said it the way I meant it. When a male is standing around with his rear end hanging out, that ain't a fashion statement. Damn sure isn't a gangster statement. That is a female mating gesture. This is how emasculated your boys are. They've grown into males who identify with female mating gestures. For those of you who try to play amateur anthropologists and talk about how twerking goes back to Africa, okay, I'll see you on that one right there. But you know, only the females are supposed to use their rear ends as a way of getting sexual attention. Only females are supposed to do that. But when you've got males imitating female gestures, they are imitating female mating gestures. So what does that first and foremost tell you? That first and foremost tells you that he is also looking for a protector and provider. You looking to him to protect and provide for you, and he's standing there in the lobby looking for someone to protect and provide for him. And you think 2021 is going to go easier for you than 2020 did? When everybody's supposed to be getting up on New Year's night, when I was recording this and making their New Year's resolutions about how things were going to get better and what you're going to do differently going into the new year, ladies, you don't want to know what's coming down the pike at you for the new year. You thought 2020 was rough. The dregs who didn't get destroyed and decimated in 2020, they're still swimming out here. And I'm just telling you right now, they are not the least bit interested in sacrificing on your behalf. They're not the least bit interested in doing so. You're in these major metropolitan areas. Ladies, you don't have any leverage. You don't have any leverage. Stop lying to yourselves. You don't have any. You're not fooling anybody. You're not fooling anybody. It's too rough out here. It's too rough out here, and the competition is entirely too stiff. The competition is too stiff. Even your white female counterparts who were at the hotel that night, a hotel that was 99% black people in the black mecca of America, these white girls are coming across the street to come back to this hotel. This is your competition, not walking, but running. Where do you think they're running to? And you're sitting up here still trying to hand out this idle threat of you gonna get you a white man. Go ahead and do that. Baby, the white women are like, ain't enough white men out here. Who the hell you fooling? Who the hell you fooling? And that was how bad the situation was at the end of 2020. On the first night of 2021, as I was documenting it here, what do you think the situation is gonna be like in 3 months? What do you think the situation is gonna be like in 3 months here? Ladies, you're not fooling anybody but yourselves, is what I'm trying to tell you here. You're not fooling anyone with yourselves. All the things that you've been previously told, all the lies that you've been previously sold on, now the bill has come due. There are not enough producers to go round. Ladies, not only are there not enough genuine masculine men who desire to produce to go around, there ain't even enough of us to let y'all double up. Ladies, are you willing to understand this reality? There are not even enough viable masculine producers out here to even allow you all to double up. It's not because of LGBT and all the fellas are on the down low. That's not the reason, is what I'm trying to tell you. That's not the reason for it. The reason for it is because you have beaten the masculinity, the leadership component. You've beaten that out of your boys. You've beaten that out of your sons. You've destroyed it. After 3 generations of them being deprived, a masculine role model in the home who leads by his example, they've instead been overrun with a bunch of women who want to make their sons into their honorary husbands. And in the process, you have destroyed. They don't seek to lead you, and they don't even know where they're leading themselves. They don't know where they're leading themselves, where, if anywhere. And I sat there and watched the sad parade of females, a lot of them looking pretty nice. As I said, she got her legs out, but baby, there's no producer to take you off the market. This was New Year's night in Atlanta, 2021. The Business was on the scene as I recorded hours of footage, as I walked through this place up 70-something floors, documenting the variety and caliber of male. As you can see, there were a bunch of fashion plates, but there were not men looking to take on adulthood. That's what I'm trying to tell you, ladies. It's been a year now, and ain't nobody stepping up for you. Not in the numbers you need. Let me just say it to you plain. All of your producers have been taken and spoken for. Ladies, I'm trying to bring you hard, brutal reality. All of your eligible producers, the real ones, the ones that you need, you know, the ones who can change a flat tire, they're not afraid to break a nail. You know, the fellas who aren't afraid to get some dirt on their knees because they were fixing the plumbing. You know, those guys, the fellas who get up in the morning and their first thought is how they can enhance provision for you. They have been taken. They are spoken and accounted for. They've been spoken for. That's what I'm telling you. 2020 was rough on women as they had to concede that they needed producers, and they thought to themselves, well, we will just shake a tail feather and producers will fall from the sky. And I am telling you that I have documented that there's no such thing. And ladies, here's the worst part about this. You used to be able to shame the males into doing your bidding. You used to be able to use reverse psychology and tell them what a real man would do and what they should be doing. And y'all ain't real men. And they would jump to it. And we gonna get us a white man. We gonna do this, that, and the other. The fellas are like, forget you. We ain't buying that lie anymore. It's an idle threat. It's an idle threat. Y'all are sitting like wallflowers at the high school prom. It's an idle threat. You don't have another option. You can't sit here and the fellas have called your bluff, ladies, is what I'm telling you. They've called your bluff, not just in the major metropolitan areas, but across the country. The men have called your bluff. And I don't say this with glee. I don't say this, from a joyful place. I don't consider this to be a good thing. I actually went there with the expectation that I would see something different. I was hoping that I would see a bunch of black dudes that at least would look like something from, stock photo or something. Young black up and coming males. I was hoping I would at least see at least 30%, 40%. I was hoping I would at least see a third who were at least ready for battle, at least in a venue and in a place where, you can't get in too cheap. Although I suspect they might have lowered the numbers on floors or rooms that I wasn't in. I saw a bunch of folk that, in my opinion, simply did not belong there. But in any case, I thought that this environment was going to filter them out. But this means one of two things. Either the prices they lowered prices for a bunch of bummy folks and they made their reservations way in advance and got a hell of a good deal, or you can't filter them out anymore because they've overrun you. That's the point I'm making. All these women and your mothers and your grandmothers who promised you that when you got ready, there were going to be males who were ready and told you that don't worry, if the last guy you talked to ain't ready to rumble, don't worry, you can just keep it pushing and get somebody else. Ladies, you have my permission to go smack your grandmama in the mouth and knock out her dentures. She lied to you. It's not there. You can dress as scantily as you wish. You can be as thottish as you want. You can imitate Cardi B down to the T. There is no reward or pot of gold at the end of this hoochie mama rainbow. All I see are a bunch of females basically showing each other their legs. That's the point I want to make to you here. All I saw was a bunch of females showing off their body parts to other females. That's what I saw. I didn't see a bunch of females really making it happen for men. I saw a bunch of females carousing and flirting and associating with each other. Because there were either no men there or there were no men available, but that's what you see now. A bunch of women wearing tight miniskirts and high heels to show off their body parts to each other, to take selfies with each other, to show how alluring they could be with each other, because there was no man to direct that feminine energy towards. So they just started directing it towards each other, following each other around. Being dressed to kill and dressed to flirt and seduce ain't helping you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not helping you. If you thought we were all lying before, that we were telling you that this promiscuous culture was ultimately going to blow up in your faces with disastrous results, you don't have to believe us anymore, because we don't have to talk to you anymore about it. I am telling you all that the female psyche has broken, that they have been left alone for so long without that masculine influence to balance them out, that their psyches are essentially broken now. It's essentially broken. They've needed men who are able to produce and willing to produce for a while now. They need some men who are going to tell them, take off the damn blue hair. That's what they need, are some men to tell them, take off the damn blue hair. You represent me. You are my representative. And instead, they wanted to turn their rumps up at us and tell us what they weren't going to do. Now, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. There are no men around to listen. This was New Year's night, downtown Atlanta. The fellas were showing up and showing out. If I saw one Escalade, I saw a dozen of them. I saw some Maseratis. I saw some Porsches. I saw some S-Classes. That's all nice and cute and everything. But I gotta tell you, for the most part, the fellas rolled up in the Escalades and the women rolled up in I don't know what the thing is, Volvos. Was it the SC9060? I don't know my Volvos like I should. SC60, the sedan with the Thor's hammer headlights. But the females rolled up in their sedans by themselves, and the fellas rolled up in their Escalades and Tahoes by themselves. That's right. New Year's Eve in Atlanta. New Year's night, not New Year's Eve. New Year's night in Atlanta. This was after 12 midnight. Don't get me wrong. It was a bunch of folk milling around. It was on and popping around the Ferris wheel and all that down there where the Waffle House is. Down the street where the Waffle House is, Hard Rock Cafe, Hooters. It wasn't a ghost town by any stretch of the imagination. It wasn't a ghost town. What I'm telling you is that being a sexy young lady in Atlanta don't benefit you nothing right now. Because you all decimated and destroyed your masculine producer class 3-4 decades ago. You're just now getting the memo. You're just now getting the memo. This is your producer class there, and I wanted to make sure, I was like, when I saw them walk by, I'm like, okay, this Negro just walked by a bunch of females with mini skirts, and he looks like somebody's little 4-year-old child. A squad of them. And that's not what it's supposed to be. That's not what it's supposed to be. You might as well call Atlanta the land of women. You might as well go ahead and do that. I'll let you go ahead and get away with that. You might as well call Atlanta the land of women, because it is. There's a whole bunch of women in Atlanta and Dallas and Houston and Chicago and New York and Philadelphia and Los Angeles. And if I had my camera in any of those places, the scene would have looked identical. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of females there, but the problem is femininity is a useless commodity if you do not have valid masculine males. And your grandmamas and your mamas and many of you have decimated the current and even future classes of males. I'm telling you that promiscuous street culture, sexual promiscuous culture among the females is not a victimless crime. Oh, your first victims were your own sons. Yeah, those were your first victims, but your last victim will be you. Your sons were your first victims, all right. Oh, you screwed them over real good. Yeah, your sons were your first victims, but you'll be the final victim. You'll be the final victim. And I don't say this with glee, and I don't say this with schadenfreude. Look it up. I don't say this with a grin of satisfaction. I consider this to be a sad state of affairs. I consider this to be a pathetic state of affairs, and it hasn't been addressed properly. It hasn't been addressed by us saying, this is stupid. This is nonsensical. It hasn't been addressed properly. I'm not supposed to be going to this place. We're supposed to be seeing sensible, respectable, elegant black men and women together and building is what we're supposed to see. And instead, what we see is a parade of raggediness at a time and a moment in our history in the world where you can't afford to have that. You can't afford to have a bunch of non-viable non-males around. You can't afford to have this. You can't afford to have a bunch of males around looking to be led. You need to have males around who are standing up firm and straight backed with a stiff spine saying they're on deck. And you don't have it now. It's not there. All the males I saw were having illicit relationships with a marijuana blunt, is what I'm telling you. Hundreds and thousands of people who were around that night, and I'm telling you that there were very few illicit relationships with females, and most of the illicit relationships were with a drug of some sort. That's what was happening. Your producer class is either checked out or has lowered their standards. They're willing to just lay up with any hippo or hoppo who comes along while they're trying to regale you about their interracial sexual access. The bar has dropped. The bar has been lowered so low that everybody can get in now. And if you're telling yourselves it'll be easy or it'll be simple or you just put a little bit more work into it, I'll get me a white man, you're whistling past the damn graveyard. You ain't scaring nobody with that idle threat. Knock it off. Stop talking stupid. Let's start talking about some realistic alternatives. Can we start talking about some real options? Can we start discussing some sensible things? Because all of these nonsensical things are only hurting you at this point. They're only hurting you. The fellas have lowered their standards as a group, ladies. The fellas have lowered their standards to the point that, hey, as long as this, because you taught them this, their mamas taught them, don't you ever say a female ain't no good. As long as she a female, she alright. Why? Because your mama was a ratty female, and so she punked and intimidated her sons into accepting ratty females as an acceptable alternative. Congratulations, your sons now accept the dirtiest, grimiest, sloppiest, nastiest females as a viable alternative. The only problem with that, those types of females don't require any effort. That's the problem. And since those females, it doesn't take effort to get them, then he doesn't have to exert any effort, and he doesn't feel like he has to exert any effort. So he gets up in the morning and sees about him. If his woman's doing good, that's great. And if she's not doing good, that's great too. And the females would love to exercise some veto power, but it's impossible to exercise veto power because, in the words of Dusty from that episode of G.I. Joe, you say you can climb out of the hole. Well, yeah, that'd be a great idea if you had someplace safe to climb to. Yes, you can reject the little dusty, bummy freak boys. You can reject them. I mean, yeah, you do have that option if you had something better to reject them for. That's the real problem. Yeah, you can turn down these bummy miscreants who ain't applying themselves and aren't producing. Yeah, you can walk away from them if you had something better to walk away to. And I keep showing this old dude here. I mean, he got 3 size 16s on his arms, and watch him as he struts by with his plus size Becky. I mean, he's strutting by. I mean, he's the man. Y'all, I'm telling you, he big pimping and balling. This is it. He's like, dude, he looking at me like, nigga, you wish you was living my life. You wish you was living my life. That's what it is right now. That's what it is. I'm just the guy who had the guts to go out and go show this to you. This is the seamy, ugly underbelly. I'm just the guy who had the guts to go out in Atlanta on New Year's night and show you that this is what's really happening on the ground. This is the real situation. This isn't what somebody told me. This is what is actually happening out there. Ladies, the fellas have called your bluff, either consciously or by condition. They've called your bluff. Do your worst. Do whatever it is you think you're gonna do. You try to withhold sex, try to sleep with his friends, try to monkey branch, try to exercise hypergamy. Do your worst. Do whatever it is you think you're gonna do, whatever threat it is you think you're gonna leverage or execute, go ahead. I'm just letting you know, if nobody told you, the fellas have officially called your bluff. In 2020, the ladies sent out the call. Why do you think OnlyFans blew up? OnlyFans, this is what y'all keep doing. You keep trying to find some subsidy for a man as a producer. First, it was the federal government. Well, I can turn my rump up at the men, and the federal government will subsidize my foolishness. So I don't have to submit to a man's leadership. The federal government will be a substitute for a man. Well, that went bad. Now you scramble to OnlyFans and anything else you can because when the crisis hit, you didn't have a choice. You didn't have a choice. You're going to submit to a man's leadership or you will submit to misleadership. Those are your options. We've been warning you forever that that's what it was going to be. And now, ladies, I'm just telling you right now, at bottom line, Judgment Day is here. I'm not saying it to be flippant. I'm not saying it to be cross. Ladies, Judgment Day is here. You all are sitting around, and even for those of you who are not size 14, 16s, you're calling up, hey, how can I get a producer? How can I get a peak value man? Jason, what do I need to do? And I'm just here to tell you, ladies, even if we can advise you, I'm just here to tell you, whatever is the first thing that you grab, you better hold on. You better hold on. The situation is not good. That's what I'm telling you. The situation's not good. Don't ask me for help. Don't ask me about where you need to go. I mean, ladies, if you are the only females who are going to make it today are the best of the best. Okay? The only females who are going to make it today, the only females who are going to do all right are the best of the best. Your cast-offs and your ragamuffins, the chicks who aren't going to do any better. Ladies, there's not enough. There's not enough men and not enough time. Not enough men and not enough time. There are not enough producers. The best of the best will be the only ones who are going to have any options whatsoever. That's it. That's it. All the prophecies and predictions that we made before, ladies, I mean, it's the time for talk is over. We're here now. It's just a bunch of females as wallflowers, and they're wearing their finest, skimpiest outfits. And it used to be that you were able to get yourself a fella who would at least you could shake your rear end and get somebody to sit up here, and that was a last resort. Ladies, can't even hold your way to last resorts anymore. You can't even do that anymore. That's not a viable option anymore. You don't have the option of being able to do that, is what I'm telling you. That's not the way it's going to work now. You might wish it were, but ladies, that is not going to work. You are not going to have the option of being able to do that. There aren't enough beta simps. There aren't enough fools out. There are not enough productive simps, as it were, because that's what everybody's looking for. They're looking for the Holy Grail. They want a productive simp is what they want. Ladies, there ain't enough productive simps left anymore. The game is over. I came here tonight to tell you, I have witnessed, the game is over. For the young women, the game's over for the young women. It's over for the young women now. Your grandmamas and your mamas sold you out. They told you every lie, every conceivable lie under the sun. The game is over for you now. That's who it's over for. And it's a shame. It's an absolute shame, especially for young people. I came back to report to you all. Jason, what's the news? I don't have any good. What's the good news? I don't have any good news. That's what I came back to report to you. I came back to report. I got news, all right. I don't have any good news. Now it's your opportunity to weigh in. We're going to go ahead and open up the telephone lines. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the foundation. This is the program that set the foundation upon which your entire black manosphere has taken all of their philosophies, reworded them, and reworked them. But if you want to know the truth about what really works and what doesn't, and let me tell you, there's only going to be a few things to do, from the reliable source that everybody else is getting theirs from, the telephone lines are now open. Playtime is over. "2021 will be harder on women than 2020 was. Ladies, you're going to find yourselves doing things you never thought you'd be doing. You're going to find yourselves considering things you never thought you'd be considering. You're going to find yourselves submitting in ways you didn't think you were going to submit. You're going to find yourselves desperate in ways you told yourselves it wasn't going to be that bad. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You've been telling yourselves that you were going to skate on this, and I'm just here tonight to report to you, ladies, buckle up. Strap in and buckle up. Batten down the hatches. It's going to be a rough ride from here on in. From here on in. In the chat room, if you said that 2020 wasn't that hard, that's because you've become desensitized and you're just used to being alone. Either that or you got a man, but and you settled for what you could get, and that's okay. If you was able to find you a hole to hide in, that's great. But don't sit up here and lie and say 2020 wasn't that hard. Get off the pipe. The lead pipe, the crack pipe, whichever one you're on. Get off of it. Get off of it. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program in the Super Chat and Cash App. Thank you very much for doing that. Erville, Palacio, everybody here you mentioned on the screen, we appreciate that. Robert Lamel, thank you very much for that as well. Daryl Hodge, we appreciate that. Black Voltron, as always, and everyone else who has contributed to support tonight's program. But enough from me. Let's go ahead and see what you all have to say about this. Let me get caller from area code 912. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Jason Black. This is Kieran Wade from Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
And I just wanted to weigh in on what you were talking about.
Okay, brother. I don't know if you're on speakerphone or if you got the phone right up under your chin, but take it back some. You're really muffled.
Can you hear me better now?
Okay. And what was your name?
Kieran Wade from Savannah, Georgia.
Kenny Wade from Savannah, Georgia. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so I just wanted to weigh in about, like how you said, 2021 going to be harder for women. Because, like, prime example, I'm 23. I'm making about, like, $1,000 a week because I work at this outsourcing marketing company. And, like, women say they want a producer and all that good stuff. I noticed they don't like all the other stuff that come with being a producer. Because right now I'm building my own company and I work, like, 85, 90 hours a week just grinding so that by the time I hit my 30s, I'm be well established or have to worry about anything. And like they'll complain about you investing more time into like your craft and not spend enough time with them. And like literally I had to break up with my girlfriend of a year and 3 months to focus on my craft. And like the second I broke up with her, like my production went up, #1 sales rep in the nation, and it's like a whole weight off of my shoulders. It's like a lot of these women don't realize they think that what they're doing is helping us out, but a lot of times they just weighing us down and stressing us out in the process.
Well, brother, let me find out here. How old are you?
23.
You're 23 years old, and you're in Savannah, and you're a ways away from, you're not right around the corner from Atlanta, certainly not. But definitely, in your opinion here, what would be your advice to the young ladies out there who are basically, and you know what's going on, they're playing the field and telling themselves they'll have the option of doing that, and when they get ready to settle down, they're going to go ahead and make that move, apparently, and just wave their magic wand. what would you tell them?
I mean, honestly, I'd say if you lucky enough to find a man who like about that grind right now and who willing to build with you, you better hold on. Cause like prime example, like me and my girlfriend, whenever she come back to me in the future, I ain't gonna want her. I got more options now, way more established, and I'm gonna want somebody on my level. So if you lucky enough to find somebody who willing to be with you before they blow up, you better hold on to them for dear life. Cause shit, coming back to them ain't gonna be an option.
Well, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from area code 281. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Prince out of Richmond, Texas.
Prince out of Richmond, Texas. What's on your mind, brother?
You really stunned me tonight, Jason. These young men don't know how to wear slacks. I see the young ladies dressed up, looking very attractive and sexy. This generation, nobody can wear a button-down shirt or anything.
No, because the girls actually had a female example in the home to show them how to at least dress like a female. The boys were dressed up by a bunch of, let's just be honest, hood rat mamas who dressed them up like the type of thuggish little messed up dudes that they were laying up with. For fun. So these boys have grown into grown men still dressing like little boys is what's happened. And they were waiting for a natural evolution. Without a masculine example in the home to show them what to do, they don't have any idea. So they've grown into adulthood wearing clothes that are either too big or too small. Great big huge, they wear jeans. They look like they're ready to go to the playground. And it's because they are. They look like they're ready to go to the playground because take a look at how many fellas here got handbags, fanny packs, and backpacks. Now, some folk think that's a masculine thing. I'm like, all right, that's an Atlanta thing for masculine. But that just tells you how it's been redefined. Brother, these are a bunch of grown males ready for the playground. You see, I got footage after footage of fellas with grown men with backpacks, sagging jeans. The only fellow who was dressed like an adult had a sensible looking woman on his arm. So what we've got are immature females running around with immature males, and all they're really doing is soiling the landscape. That's it. That's it.
Well, I noticed another thing. A lot of the young men are wearing bright colors for attention.
Oh, dude, they doing more than bright colors. They're wearing pink. My dude, they're wearing pink. Oh, they're wearing burgundy. They're wearing paisley. They're wearing canary yellow. But more importantly, they're wearing pink. We got grown males that you'll see this guy come up here in a moment. They're wearing pink. Yeah, I mean, let's just call it what it is. They're wearing flamboyant colors.
Well, I'm gonna tell you my last words, Jason. You hit me heavy because see, I need to find something to do to help the young men. Because I have all females. I have 3 nieces and a daughter. And they're going to have to go out here, and I'm trying to teach them. I'm teaching my niece and my daughter how to be, how to follow a producer, clean, cook, how to handle business and everything, and how to conduct themselves. But the market out here that of young men they got to deal with, it's not as many options as it was when you and I was growing up. I'm 52 and you in your late 40s. Man, if I had more, I don't have as many males in my family of the younger age, and so I need to find some way to reach these young men or something. What can we do? Because the women, they getting a reality check, but they never listen to us, Jason. They never listen. When we were telling them, you're sissifiering these boys, that you're sitting there making them out of little pimps, putting the earrings in their ear at 3 or 4 years old, they wouldn't listen. They thought the little bad behavior was cute. So what can we do, bruh? I know the women just going to have to get in line. But what can we do for the younger generation of females coming along?
What we're doing right now. That masculine example needs to be out here. We need to make sure that we make it known what the protocol is. Because here's the thing. At some point, and this is what really happens, Steve Harvey, as much as he may be wrong about a lot of other things, you got to understand, he was right when he said in our 20s it's about chasing females. Unfortunately, some of them drag it on too damn long. By the time we hit our 30s, brother, this society is vicious. This society is vicious. It's trying to take everything from you, and the only real protection you can have is to get your chips stacked up. You got to have your money right. And
Yes.
right now, that survival drive is what we're gonna have to speak to, because at the end of the day, you know, living in some effeminized culture like this, that's not what's best for the boys. That's not what's best for manhood. And biologically speaking, males will respond to it, but we're going to have to double and triple down our efforts to create that masculine environment. And more importantly than anything else, we're going to have to do what the civil rights, the males of the civil rights generation did not do. We are going to have to stand our ground. We're going to have to stand firm. We're going to have to say that we are not going to change under this distorted, mutated, would-be onslaught. We're not going to change. We are going to stand firm, and we are going to hold the line. No matter how dispiriting it may get, no matter how discouraging it may get, those fellas acquiesced. They were weak. We have to show that ain't us. And
right, and we're going to push
sow
the button, and everybody's going to turn against us. The women, everybody, because they're going to say this is the era of gender fluid. This is the era of, you know, you can choose what sexuality you want to be given on a given day.
Okay,
and when we sitting here, saying you have to define who you are, go ahead.
Well, they can say that, but here's the problem. The problem is the women are obviously unhappy with it. The ladies are not thrilled. The ladies are not thrilled with all of these metrosexual, bamboozled, pants sagging, flirty boys out here. They're not happy with it. So as much as they might say that crap, because there's a real thing, you and I are old enough to understand a simple statement here. Women don't know what they want. You don't listen to them. A man, we're supposed to lead them. So when the women start talking, we're supposed to just, okay, I hear you talking, but you're not going to set the agenda. When we get into trouble is when we start saying things like, okay, but here's what they going to say. As soon as you've made that statement, you're already wrong. You're already on the wrong side of things. We can't give any credence to that. You know why? Because there's a reason why a car has only one steering wheel. It doesn't have two, doesn't have three. It's got one steering wheel for a reason. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, Prince. Let me get caller from area code 612. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Christopher. I'm calling from Minneapolis.
Christopher from Minneapolis. What's on your mind?
Man, first of all, great show. This is something that I've had numerous conversations with other people about. And like you said, there's no good news. You know, a lot of callers and a lot of people are probably going to be looking at this show like, what's the solution? What's the solution? Man, natural selection. This is just what's happening. Unfortunately, you know, like you said, it's a lot of the modern females, a lot of modern sisters. You know, they fell for the okie doke. You know, I'm 41, and I saw like guys like my father, like you said, the productive dudes, the dudes that were working for themselves, that were actually hard workers and leaders. I saw them clowned and in favor for the thugs. Now, that's what you're left with, and now they're looking crazy. And it's kind of a weird junction in the community because a lot of people in the community are trying to look forward and move forward from that thug life. We don't want that, you know, being black is a struggle thing. You know, we already know that. We're trying to do better.
Well, you know, the real reason, though, brother, is there's something we need to understand here. Time is a woman's enemy, and it's also a man's ally. And that's what we've found out. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but back in the 90s, we used to complain about the dope boys and this, that, and the other, and the females thought it was cute to run around with the dope boys and the little moist boys, and they thought that mess was cute. And, brother, all we had to do was just wait a decade, and they were all left destitute and alone. And now you're seeing this right now, brother, you can pick them up in the bargain bin. And before now, we used to have to actually compete at a really high level. Now the women are just really talking about what they wish, because you and I both know it's a bluff. They can't actually demand what they want. I mean, they want it. Don't get me wrong. They want it, but they don't actually have any leverage to force it. They used to at least have the leverage to force the issue. But now they can only just sit up here and whine about, I want a man who makes mid six figures and drives this type of car and can buy me this and buy me that. Okay, you give me your wish list, but you have no leverage with which to enforce your demands. You're making demands, but you can't actually enforce any of them. Now, you and I understand that's the environment. They never thought they were going to wake up in a world where they could not inflict their will and enforce their demands. And what I'm saying, and this is a sad commentary today, but brother, we're supposed to, like, if we had daughters, our daughters are supposed to be able to enforce their demands. And I'm sad to say that I don't have any kids, and sometimes I think that's for the best, because right now they don't have any way to enforce those feminine demands at all. Even for the ones who do qualify, the pickings are so damn slim. I don't care. You're the best of the best, and even if you are a dime, the chances that you're going to have to double up are pretty much damn near 100%.
Yeah. I'm 41, and I got a 10-year-old daughter, and I'm not going to lie to you. I feel bad for her. And sometimes she'll come to me, with, the little craziest notions that young chicks have about boys and men and everything. And I got to set her straight. And she'll be like, Dad, you're being mean. No, I'm trying to really prepare you for what's going to happen, for what's awaiting you.
You see, the problem is, you make a very good point, because the problem is being raised in these single mother homes, being raised in these, inaccurate environments. They don't prepare their daughters for the way that the men are going to think. They treat it like Barbie dolls, and we're going to just dress them up. And then when you get ready, the males are going to respond the way you want them to, rather than have somebody sit you down and teach you that this is the way that men think. These are the things that men respond to. This is how they respond. These are the kind of guys you watch out for to avoid, and these are the kind of guys you watch out for in order to gain their favor. That's a different situation to be in. And you need a man who is going to be able to explain that to you, if you are lucky. But you make a very good point. Under the best circumstances, you would have that, but we don't have any men to sit the daughters down and gang them up. Hell, we used to have women who had half a lick of sense to be able to do that, but now they've been so dumbed down and saturated that they don't even have a clue anymore. So they're all walking out here figuring it out as they go along and failing. I'd use the words figuring it out advisedly, because they're not figuring out anything. Brother, it's a complete failure at this point. And, you and I should be angry about it and stuff, but it's like, in reality, if you're a black male in America today, and I'm just going to say, if you're a black male in America today making $60,000 a year or more, you're living the best you've ever been. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. He's got a wine going on there. If you are a black man in America today making $60,000 or more and hopefully don't have a bunch of kids, in reality, man, the bar is that low. You don't have to. Making six figures is nice, and we're going to be doing a broadcast about the Six Figure Club in D.C. this week. So for those of you who missed the last one from Los Angeles, it was a barn burner. But later this week, probably going to be Thursday or Friday. I'm looking either Thursday or Friday. As soon as I get everybody contacted, we're going to be doing the edition of Six Figure Club DC. But it really doesn't require six figures. It really doesn't require it. That's the real problem. I'm trying to tell you, it really doesn't require it. I mean, you can do it, and it's nice and all. I mean, it certainly helps. But it really isn't a hard requirement. Not really, it isn't. It's not really a hard requirement. And the reason for that is because as black men today, we know that most of our damn competition are these mama's boys who've been raised to chase an Xbox. He's not competing against other men for mastery and prominence. He's only competing for consumer goods. He's like the females. He's just competing to buy a video game and some tennis shoes. He's not competing to be a master of the resources of the world, to get power, wealth, and influence and esteem. He's sitting around with a bunch of other broken, emotionally handicapped, prepubescent males, overgrown prepubescent males. That's all he's doing. He's not building anything. He doesn't desire or demand the respect and validation that comes from being a builder. He's got no frame of reference for that. He's just floating from one place to another. He doesn't care that you don't respect him because of what he's not building. That's why it's so silly to have females sit up here and think they're going to shame black men by saying black men ain't build nothing. You didn't demand it. And now you have boys that you taught that they don't have to build anything because a builder is going to demand a higher quality of female. That's the difference. A builder is going to demand a higher quality of female as the reward for his building, as the reward for his sacrificing. He's going to demand a higher quality of female, and the hood rat mama generations of Christmas past have told the boys that all females, no matter how raggedy or wretched their condition, are equally worthy. Therefore, guess what? You've got a communist situation now. Back when I was in grade school, they taught us that the goal of communism was to see to it that everyone would be equally wealthy. But the effect of communism was the opposite. Everyone wasn't equally wealthy. Everyone wound up being equally poor. And now in your attempts to get the males to see all females as equally worthy, you have actually created the polar opposite of what you thought you were going to get. The males today don't see any of the females as all equally worthy. They see the females as all equally unworthy. If I keep dropping this mic, I'm going to need a new mic and an XLR cable. Ladies, they see the males today look at you and they don't think they have to break a sweat or exert themselves because they see you all as being equally unworthy of their effort or exertion, much less their sacrifices. And that's the reality. They do not see you all as equally worthy. They see you as equally unworthy. I don't have to do anything for you. If you don't like it, who cares? I'll grab my purse and leave. If you don't like it, who cares? You might be a size 6 or a size 8. I'll settle for a size 14 or 16. I don't have to produce at a high level. You're not worthy of it. And the chick I'm going to run off with, she ain't worthy of it either. All of you are equally unworthy of my efforts. That's what happens when you teach your boys that all females are the same. Now they treat you all as the same, starting with the guttermost, not the utmost, the guttermost. Caller from area code 314. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Joseph from St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
What's going on with you, Mr. Jason?
Okay, take your phone off speaker, Joseph.
Sorry about that. I had headphones in.
What's on your mind?
But this is I'm 22, and I've been in a relationship with my girls since I've been in high school, whatever. But what you're seeing now is the consequences of a society that makes everything topsy-turvy. When you have a society that perpetuates that men and women are equal, which is a complete lie, you get everything mixed up. That's why you have, like, if you look at it, you see how masculine some of the women are, how feminine some of these dudes are. You got men my age wearing, what they call the damn pants now, joggers or something like that, tight sweatpants. It's just pathetic, the type of stuff you see now. And this is another thing, too, that women got to understand. Men are starting to kind of see, like, what's going on. You have to understand all this constantly talking stuff about black dudes and, oh, they ain't this or they ain't that, or I ain't going to submit until he builds this. Men you have some men. Now, this is the thing. You know what I'm saying? I believe black people should be together, but everybody had their preferences and stuff like that. It is what it is. But this is what I have to understand. The three things a woman can give a man is femininity, submissiveness, and what was the last thing? Her youth. If society already took two of them away. And what I find so crazy is I see some of y'all saying, oh, you're a queen, you don't need a man and all this. You're promoting insanity. A man and a woman, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. They need each other to coexist. When you have a man that's been without a woman for so long, you have some dudes that fall into this state of mind where, oh, all women are whores, all women are slurs, you know what I mean, stuff like that. And when you have a woman who has been under a man's leadership, they all, oh, I'm not listening to him. I don't care what you say. You know what I mean?
Well, brother, here's the issue. Here's the issue. The reality is a woman cannot define herself as a woman without a man to juxtaposition it against. That's just the bottom line.
Exactly.
And what is your frame of reference to define yourself as a feminine being without having the masculine against which to juxtaposition it? Without the masculine to serve as the contrast, how do you define the feminine? Answer, you can't.
Exactly. And I know other people want to call, want to try to make this brief. It's just like topics like this I'm real passionate about. This is another thing too, like with the whole single motherhood thing. You still have people saying the black community is a patriarchy when, if you go based on facts, it never really was, if we're being completely honest. If we can go back to the 1960s where you had married households and stuff like that, but like you just said earlier, the women try to do things to get them away from a man. And this is something I was thinking about while you was talking, Mr. Jason. It's stuff that girls by themselves and that single mothers have to worry about that my girl don't have to worry about. Like with this whole pandemic thing, you know what I mean? Go to the store, get the groceries, that's handled. She ain't got to worry about that. You have girls who got I seen a girl in, it's a store called Cabela's. It's a ammunition and gun store or whatever. They was in there looking like they was scared out of their mind. You have women, they would rather buy ammunition and do all this type of stuff instead of saying, you know what, I'm gonna get in my place. I'm gonna submit to a man who gonna do all this and who gonna handle this if something bad happens. Because this is my thing, ladies, which I gotta realize. Society is crumbling right now. You can say, oh, the economy's not gonna collapse and stuff like this and all that. But when something go bumping tonight, I just want you to think about this. When you laying down in a bed by yourself, alone, miserable, mad at the world, what are you getting out of life? And this one more thing I'm gonna say, because I know I want to hold up the line. A woman wasn't made to work like a man does. It's biologically impossible for you. You can say, "Oh, I'm equal to a man." No, you're not. You're beneath a man. Like I said, a man and woman are a cohesive unit, and they need to be used to raise a family. But the man's position is to lead, and the woman's position is to follow. She's behind the man, not near him, not on the side, behind. Y'all have to let y'all ego go and understand that. And the last thing, the final thing I'm gonna say: why do you think you hearing all these stories about these women going crazy or doing drugs or losing their mind? You can say all you want. I can work 40 hours. I should get equal pay to a man and all this type of stuff. You're going to drive yourself crazy. You need to realize a man is stronger than you. We are physically more capable than you. All this type of stuff. You have to understand that your role is a nurturer. That's what you can have babies for.
Well,
it just is what it is.
You got to understand something here, and I'll explain this to you in a moment. Thank you very much for giving us a call. When they were yelling about quote-unquote equality, women like Gloria Steinem were not the kind of women that white men were checking for. So she wasn't eligible for the same level of resources as other women were. And she took that badly. She took grievous offense at that. So she was just like, well, screw it. If I ain't going to get the same benefits as these other women, and I believe I should get it, then screw it. We're all going to do without. I'll just wreck the subsequent generations. If I can't get it, I'm screwing everybody. But they didn't want equality. Let's be very, very clear about that. They did not want equality. That was not what they were looking for. What they were looking for was to demand that men should give undeserving females equal benefits. And they call that equality. I want to get the same benefits as the females you guys actually want. The females who actually put forth effort and work. I want the same benefits they get. I want equal treatment with them. That's what I want to get. And when the men refuse to do it, because of course, what's the benefit to doing so? Then yeah, they reacted hella badly. What's the benefit of giving you anything? Answer, there isn't any. Caller from area code 310. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason. This is Tyler, TG out of Los Angeles.
Tyler out of Los Angeles. What's on your mind, brother?
Man, you're hitting on it tonight. So I just had two things I wanted to add. One of my recent businesses I started, it's a youth development program, primarily because I looked out and I didn't see any productive men really in the environment. And I was listening to you and hearing what you were saying, and I was like, where are the producers? I have to teach her to chase a producer. And if the producers are non-black males, I mean, what do I do at that point? Do I tell her to get with a non-productive male just because he's black? So I was like, okay, I got to try, do everything I can to get these numbers up. So that's one project that I'm working on. But there was what you were saying about the single moms is that there's weird stuff that happens when you're raised by a single mother that they don't really understand, because women don't turn off who they are. You know what I'm saying? Just because you get masculine for a second to discipline, this boy is seeing you interact with the entire world with a feminine strategy. And you're not supposed to see that and see that as an example. That's supposed to be something that you maybe see, but you're supposed to see your father and how he's interacting. And when you don't see that, there's just weird stuff that happens. So, like, there's a lot of stuff, like you're saying, like you'd be saying, like, all the pants sag and all this stuff. Like, there's stuff that if you don't really look at and address and consciously work through, you're gonna face some issues, because you do feel like the woman should provide, like, but you don't see it as that way. Like, you see it as something that you're owed, and it takes, like, you have to really dig in. So,
well, I mean,
if
you grew up with nothing but a woman taking care of you, you grew up in a single mother home, you never saw a man provide anything, your mama took care of you, then yeah, you're going to go into manhood with this screwed up notion that women can take care of you, or that they should. You see that? Yeah. The women didn't think that was going to be the result. They figured that they would indoctrinate you, and that when you got to manhood, they hated them. See, they hated the men in power. When a man is in power, he's going to make demands. That's leadership. And the women who accepted it prospered, but we allowed this cancerous faction of females to fester like a cancer, like a disease. They've grown now to catastrophic proportions, and their goal was, well, we need to tweak these men. We want them to produce, but we want them to expect nothing in return, and certainly not to expect us to listen to what they have to say. That's what they were thinking. And that's not what happened. Instead, you had the boys say, well, once she started breaking them, they thought they were going to bend them. That's what they thought they were going to do. They thought they were going to bend the males, and that's not what happened. They didn't bend them. They broke them. That's what happened. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Where are the ladies at? My telephone lines are open here tonight, but I don't see the women calling up here. Ladies, if you're on the line, go ahead and let my mods know. They will let me know here. I want to hear from the ladies here tonight. 2021 is going to be hard on you here. It's about time you go ahead and call up and get somebody to debrief you. Everybody else is out there guessing their way through it, and they're going to come up with nothing but the wrong answers. And by the way, if you were not aware, I'm going to be back tomorrow night. I'm going to be discussing how the so-called good girls destroyed marriage, which is going to be dovetailing with tonight's subject. And then later this week, we're going to have the next edition of the Six Figure Men's Club, DC edition. So we have got a fully stacked week coming at you here on The Business. If you miss it, you're going to be missing a whole lot. Where the ladies at? Let's get them on the line here. Let me get caller from area code 732. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
How you doing, Jason? This is Hashem from Jersey.
Hashem from where at in Jersey?
Princeton. I run a house in Princeton.
All right, brother. What's on your mind?
I was calling because I want to first thank you for the show. The information you're providing is right on point. Because I'm one of those guys that has that income that you're referring to. I own apartment buildings, me and my team. So, and part of that's thanks to you for your documentary, because after your documentary, I went and got real estate license and things of that nature.
Very
and
good.
Eventually got my building. So
once you have you have resources, then you can start to impose your will. If you have no resources, you're just a guy with an opinion. When you've got resources, now you are an influencer. So you're welcome.
Yes. So what I found is that now, since I have that, for lack of a better term, power to dictate what type of woman I want and what type of woman I do not want, I'm finding that women are, dissatisfied with, my stance when I have, I share with them my expectations. I expect cooperation. I expect respect. I expect some form of understanding and, a plethora of other things. And a lot of sisters have an issue with that. So what I found myself doing, since I have the resources now, I travel a lot and I don't have to be in New Jersey. So I travel overseas, I travel other places or travel other states and find women outside of the areas that I live within. So I found that to be better. It's a shame, but, that's what it's come to. And in closing, I basically want to say that for any young ladies that are listening, when you're dealing with a man that has resources and has worked his way through, this white world, you got to be understanding. And the most important thing is you got to be cooperative. If you're cooperative, you're attractive, you're attentive, there's no reason why we wouldn't spend some time in getting to know you. If you're not any of those things, there's 2 million more women out here than men. And it's really not that hard now, especially when you have things. And I don't even let people know I have things. I don't let them know I own a building. I don't share that I don't share that with them. I tell them I'm a consultant, and then I work it in from there to see where their head's at. So,
that's all.
Thank you for allowing me to speak.
As men, it's less said, the better.
I'm sorry?
You don't tell people what you're going to do. You just go ahead and show them. The less said, the better. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight.
Yeah.
Let me get caller from area code 815. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, my name is Lovey. I'm from Iowa.
Hello, Lovey from Iowa. For some strange reason, you've got a buzzing going on your phone there. If you're on speaker or something, or if you're standing,
I do.
If you're standing near a power
no,
transformer,
it might be my earphone.
Okay, if you're standing near a transformer or something, you want to get away from
can you hear me better?
Yeah, we'll hear you better.
Can you hear
now.
me better?
You said, Lovey, where are you calling from?
Iowa.
Okay, where at in Iowa?
I live near Des Moines.
Okay, you live near Des Moines or you live in Des Moines?
Near.
Okay. Let me try this one last time with you here, Lovey. I promise I won't let anybody stalk you, but we need to do better than that for a reason. Where do you live at?
Okay.
What city are you calling me from?
I live in Davenport, Iowa.
All right, Lovey from Davenport, Iowa. So my folks in Davenport will be familiar with that. All right, Lovey, what is on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to, kind of ask, some questions about some of the points that you were making or just comment on them. Earlier in the stream, you were saying, for, the younger girls and stuff, basically, it's over for us and, it's going to be, really hard. But I feel like it's that way for women who are not, used to, being submissive and being feminine and those sorts of things. I was raised by my dad, so, I never had, be a strong woman, mentality being, told to me. It was always, find a man who's going to be able to, take good care of you and treat you right and, give you a good life. And so, that's what I always look for. So, I feel like it's never been an issue for me, but I feel like it's an issue for a lot of my other, women who are, in my age range, in our early 20s and stuff, because, we're all I could do it by myself. I'm a boss. I could,
Right.
And it's
here's the problem,
good to have
Lovey.
that mentality.
Here's the problem. Okay?
I'm sorry?
What you're saying has the potential to be correct, but here's the problem. The problem is, with all due respect, at your tender young age, you haven't actually... You haven't actually competed for a producer yet.
Yeah.
For a protector and provider. So what I'm saying is you haven't actually entered the arena of social gender hand-to-hand combat to be able to compete to actually get one and have him seriously make a concrete commitment to you. Once you actually enter that arena of sexual political combat, and you have to actually you have to actually win a real prize, you have to actually get someone who physically does that, you're going to find that's going to be a whole lot harder than you might think. That's going to be a whole lot harder.
I understand that it's difficult because I have dated like a lot of I'm 20, I'm 22 now.
Whoa, slow down. So. Let's not do that. Slow down.
I'm not trying to rush. I'm just trying to talk.
Lovey, let's not talk over the host. I know you're excited. Calm down. Here's my point.
I'm not excited.
You obviously are very giddy. Calm down. My point that I made before was that it's going to be the best of the best. That was the other thing. You might not have heard that, or maybe you weren't listening or whatever. You might have got by you. I specifically said the women who are going to win today, that's going to be the best. They're going to be females who are the best of the best. It's not going to be your also-rans. It's not going to be any more your cast-offs. You know, the ones who are not competitive, they're going to be sitting in either with a group of a bunch of other females who could have been contenders, or they're going to be sitting with a bunch of bummy dudes. But the only ones who are going to have anything that's worth a damn, that's going to be the best of the best. And right now, today, this is what I was saying here before. Do you realize that in places like Los Angeles, Dallas, Chicago, New York, do you realize now you got to be a dime really to get an average producer, not even to get an above average. You got to be a dime. It used to be you had to be a dime to get the guys who are the best of the best. Today, you got to be a dime just to really get a top 25 percenter. Forget a top 5 percenter. You got to be a dime to get a top 25 percenter. To get a guy making 80, forget six figures, to get a guy making 75 or more, you got to be a dime to get him. And you're probably going to you are most likely going to have to share him because they are just that much in demand. Now, that's not conjecture. This is math now. It's really going to be that kind of situation. I'm not really going to be. It's already, that's the situation we're already in right now. If you are a female today, you got to be a dime to get a top 25 percenter. And you're probably going to have to share him for the first couple of years.
I think that's like, I understand where you're coming from, but I think it's like, I mean, every woman's standards are different. For some women, like, they're okay with a man who only makes like 50, 70,000. That's fine for her. But for some women, that's, not an option. I feel like for those women who are looking for more, obviously, like, how all these girls are like, oh, I want a six-figure. Those men obviously are in very slim pickings. There's not much to pick from. But I don't think it's hard to find a man who's making 75 to 150K a year.
Actually,
so
ma'am,
it's not impossible to make.
Okay, it's not impossible, but ma'am, let me give
it's
you.
Not. It's not.
Let me give you some of the numbers here. Okay, let me give you some of the numbers.
Okay.
Right now, roughly about 8% of the men in America make 100,000 or more. Let's go ahead and just expand that because I actually do believe the number is a little bit higher than that, actually, by my personal experience. Let's just say that the top 10% of men in America make $100,000 a year or more. I've also shown you all another article that said men who make 90,000, let's drop it down to 90, that's the top 13%. The top 13% make 90 or more. Baby, when you talking about $70,000 a year, that is the top 20%. That is the top 20. The rest of that is the median income in the United States. Median income for men is $52,000 a year. Median. So, and then there's this wide swath that falls off after that 70,000. It's not a little gap. It's a wide swath of it. So if you're under the impression that, most guys, it's not hard to get to 70 or whatnot, hard is a relative term because women don't even work the same jobs that we do. So your definition of hard is not necessarily going to be ours, but definitely.
I'm not saying hard in the sense like, oh, like it's like super easy. I'm just saying like it's not like I'm not sure what the word exactly that I'm looking for is, but it's not like the most difficult task. It's not the most to ask for. 70, like
Actually,
I understand like what you're saying though, and like when you're saying like the top 13, like the top 13% makes what did you say was the top 13% that they make?
Okay, slow down. It is a lot to ask for, and the reason why it's a lot to ask for is because it's relative. That's the problem. The problem is hard is relative. When you are dealing with a bunch of skinny jeans wearing mama's boys who never saw a man do manual labor in his life, and their only aspiration is to smoke a joint, play a video game, and buy a pair of shoes, that's as high as his financial aspirations go, then you expecting him to produce more than an Xbox and a pair of shoes, that is hard for him.
But those aren't the people that, I mean, me personally at least, those aren't the people that I'm going for.
Okay, it doesn't matter what you're going
who just want to
for,
smoke
though.
and sit on the Xbox all day. That's not the goal. I guess, like,
okay, but it doesn't matter what you're going for.
They're not in my line of vision. They're not who I'm looking for. They're not who I'm, like, going out on dates with and, like, looking to be with.
It doesn't matter what you're looking for. You cannot choose from the options that you wish and fantasize were available. You can only choose from the options that actually are available.
Okay.
So you can dislike it. You can be as dissatisfied with it as you like. You can't choose outside of it.
You're kind of like putting me in like the circle, like the general, like what most Black women, I guess, or women in general are looking for. And that's not what I like.
No,
what you think I'm looking for, like those giant fantasies.
I'm saying you're articulating
and that's why I'm kind of just
no, ma'am. You're articulating what you wish, ma'am. You're articulating what you wish. I'm listening to what you're saying. What you're saying are hypotheticals. These are not actual concrete realities. I'm discussing with you the actual facts on the ground. What you are articulating is what you wish to find and what you think might be. Not even what you think, what you hope will be. And well, I think it's like this. And we already started off by saying, but you haven't even competed for one yet. You're talking about your hypothesis and what you theoretically guess, not what you're actually doing.
It's not a guess. It's not a guess. I'm in the process. That's literally my end goal is to be married. I'm looking for stability and like commitment and that sort of thing. I'm not just dating.
And will be an uphill
that's not
fight.
The goal here, and that's why I think you're not understanding me.
No, ma'am, I do understand.
I'm not. It's not like this is just like, oh, I just started getting around. Like, no, this is something that I've been taught my whole life and that I've been now acting out on.
Okay, well, I'm telling you,
like,
okay,
I'm not
I hear,
used
yes,
to
that's
dating
what you
and
was.
trying to find a high quality man and those sorts of things and like knowing what to look for in my, like, my ideal partner.
Lovey, I know that you're able to hear me. If you talk over me again,
yes,
I will drop your call. I know that you're able to hear me. Do not do that again, because if you do, I will drop your call. And by the way,
it's because I'm trying to.
Ma'am,
I let you say your piece.
You are demonstrating through your behavior. You're demonstrating through your behavior right now why you don't have.
I'm sorry. You said I'm what?
You're demonstrating through your irrational, unstable behavior right now why you don't understand and why you do not have the things you're talking about. You're demonstrating it right now.
You don't know what I have. You haven't asked me anything
you're
about
not even
anything.
able to
I've just made general statements about my point, and you're like making entire assumptions about.
You're not even able to comport yourself on a phone call. No, folks, she can hear me just fine. I do a sound check on Blog Talk. She can hear me just fine. She just wants to. Well, I'm going to talk over you. You're young, but you're silly, and you're foolish. And you're demonstrating why your 2020 was very rough and your 2020 is going to whoop your behind. Because at the end of the day, a man isn't going to commit to a disciplinary problem. She's very young to have adopted being a disciplinary problem. And you have the freedom to do that. But men also have the freedom to leave you on your behind. They have the freedom to do that too. Caller from area code 313, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, he is somewhere working on the railroad. Caller from area code 469, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you're calling from?
I'm Jerry, caller from Kelton, Texas.
Okay, what is your name again?
Jerry, calling from Kelton, Texas.
Jerry calling from Kelton, Texas. What's on your mind?
Well, what's up? I'm about to say, I actually see that the world is changing, and based upon the topic, because basically now I'm starting to see a lot of women starting to actually do, which is sexual selection. For example, I'm actually starting to see more women starting to, give that more attention, sex appeal towards me now. Basically, coming around me, trying to get me to, talk to them. I'll be seeing them like at least about 3 times. First time, I could be at a store. They could just be, trying to, get my little attention. And, I don't really think nothing of it because I'm just doing what I'm doing. Seeing them the second time, I'm like, no, I'm just tripping. And then I'm coming out to the self-checkout, and they're right there. I'm like, what the fuck? And so they're actually there. So, yeah, and this happened at least by just 3 or 4 times. And so I was just trying to see, like, what's your, view or point upon that.
Well, brother, right now, I mean, it's never been easier. It's never been easier, and it's never been more reckless. I mean, and really they don't even have the right tools, because when they approach us in that way, it's a total turnoff. And right now, the situation has never been more reckless and more desperate. And that's the part that the women don't understand. Women don't understand just how desperate it is. They're used to men doing that kind of thing. They don't understand what's really going on out here. Partly because they don't want to see it. They don't actually want to acknowledge just how far gone the situation is. They don't actually want to acknowledge that. Because if they did, then it would break their psyches even further. We're dealing with a generation of females whose psyches are broken, and having to acknowledge the real gravity of their situation would only crush it even more. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 407. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, Jason Black? This is Chloe Fresh calling from Dallas, Texas, by way of Orlando, Florida.
What's on your mind, brother?
Man, I just want to give you the big ups and the big props that's due. There's a big shift in the black manosphere that's going on, taking place on YouTube, due to, of course, by a certain black gentleman that's going viral. But in all respect, he took most of his playbook from your playbook. So you're the one that deserves the huge respect and props and getting most of the black women on code today, who's making these videos about what's been taking place, and being that, them finally listen to what we really want and what we really been saying. So I just want to say big respect, because anyone who's been listening to you for the longest knows that where that playbook really came from. So just much respect, and keep doing what you do.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. It's not enough to tell people that there's a problem. It's not enough to tell people that they've got an issue. Any moron can do that. Being able to articulate exactly what they should do and must do to resolve it, now that's a hell of a lot harder, and that's not happening over on the copycats. Let me get caller from area code 615. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Cy from Nashville.
Cy from Nashville. What's on your mind?
I want to know what you thought about the whole dope boy image, and how that the style of it and the fashion, as y'all were talking about earlier, how now males are sagging more, wearing more eccentric colors. That whole go against the grain in every aspect type of lingo that seemed cooler to the females back in the day, but now they're realizing that it's not the most mature route a male can go. Don't get me wrong, being a dope boy is immature, but there's this entrepreneurial spirit behind being a dope boy that is actually masculine. You know what I'm saying? And that's
here's the problem. Here's the problem. And I know you're in Nashville. I've been there many times. Been to Memphis many times. But brother, here's the first problem. And even though I'm going to acknowledge you are in Nashville, and Memphis is really a little bit more popping about that, brother, we ain't got no dope boys no more. I mean, we really don't. I mean, we ain't had dope boys, truthfully, since the early 2000s. I mean, about 2005.
Well, maybe not. Maybe
it was really a wrap. Well, let me explain. I mean, I get your point. Let me just clarify, though. I get your point. Let me clarify. We don't really have dope boys anymore like that. I mean, as far as talking about, the Alpos and, those kind of guys, we don't have that anymore. Paid in full, we don't have that anymore. I mean, you got some dudes out here who can buy a damn pair of rims. They're taking penitentiary and graveyard chances to be able to get a pair of rims or a pair of pants. As far as being able to buy a whole car, much less a nice house, they ain't really out there. So it's really anachronistic. Now, I do understand in spots like Memphis, to a lesser degree Nashville, that Davidson County area and whatnot, I understand to a lesser degree you still got some of that going on. But as a force, as a power, as a shape in the community, you don't really have that. What you have, and here's where we kind of get a little confused. Let me find out here. How old are you?
25.
Okay. Sagging pants, sagging pants. I want to make sure I don't want to be too. I don't want to talk out of. I don't want to be anachronistic in a way that you don't have a proper frame of reference for. When you see folks
talking about pink,
we don't know. Well, no, I got it. Let me explain. I get everything here. It'll make sense to you here in a moment. While sagging pants was associated with prison culture and the dope boys, you still got fellas doing that today, but this has nothing to do with that. These are two totally, there are some of the nuances that they picked up and some of the nuances they have endured. And while some of the trappings are similar, so if you and I just showed up in the Doctor Who's time TARDIS, we would recognize some of these trappings as being similar, and we would just make the assumption, I'll be damned, it's a dope boy everywhere. And we don't have dope boys anymore. We got little moist boys imitating now this is what you're referring to, the only real reference of masculinity that they've seen, which was given to them by the Leor Cohens and the white corporate executives who shape images and music and things like that. These were images that were given to these young men. Well, why? Because there was no man in the home to show through his example. So they got their examples in front of the TV that their mama parked them in front of, or now increasingly the video games. Remember, Grand Theft Auto had one of the protagonists was running around with his pants sagging.
I almost got trapped into that myself.
Yeah, I mean, but you got one of the protagonists from Grand Theft Auto, and by the way, that is the biggest, what they call the highest grossing media venture of all time. I think the highest grossing media of all time is made more money than. It's made more money than any movie, more money than any book outside the Bible, I imagine. Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5, whichever one it was, has made more money than any other media product ever. So, you and I have to understand, even at 25, I have to understand that your generation, you all didn't need BET or any of that nonsense of gangster rap. Y'all had Grand Theft Auto putting this in front of more eyeballs than Tupac ever had. So when you realize that...
It almost made... As a kid in the 90s, it almost made it seem like if you weren't a thug, that's the only way you could be masculine. It was ridiculous.
Right, they're right. GTA San Andreas, what's his name, CJ. And like I said, I don't play video games, but I did see that. And I know MC8 did voices in it and whatnot. But what I'm saying is for those of you who are in your 30s or 40s and you're not familiar with what these younger folk are seeing, on Grand Theft Auto, they've been exposed to plenty of pants sagging, pseudo-gangster culture, this caricature gangster culture. Among a bunch. Yeah, but here's the thing. It came from a bunch of mama's boys who ain't got no street in them. So, whereas the gangsters were sagging their pants, which really, by the way, was an LGBTQ as well, and we've always tried to pretend that was some macho thing. No, you was the boyfriend in prison, and these bastard baby-making mamas didn't want to sit up here and acknowledge that. But in any case...
another thing about the fashion too, but I know we're going on. But the fashion, the men in the 70s, in the 80s, it was a lot of feminine type of masculine wear back then, like tank tops and men wearing spandex bell bottoms and chaps and all kind of. And they want to get on us about sagging. It's just like, bro, you were wearing those things back in the 70s. That was hot.
Okay, let me clear that up. tank tops, that's not a feminine thing. I mean, that goes all the way back to World War I and World War II. That's why they call them tank tops. So that's not. Some folk call the undershirts. Some folk call them wife beaters, but that's not a feminine thing there. Now
breaking.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but here's the problem. This is what I mean. I gotta make sure you young cats understand this. You're 25 years old. What I'm saying is breaking was older than you are, so I'm surprised you know it. But then again, I know a bunch of movies from the black exploitation era before I was born. Okay, great, brother. Breaking was a movie. Like Michael Jackson and the Michael Jackson jackets. We all knew what it was, and there might have been one kid who had one. But as far as that and whatnot,
so niggas in the bed wasn't dressing like that for real.
No, brother, we didn't have sequin socks. We didn't have the high water. We didn't have any of that. There might have been couple of awkward kids who were doing that, but they didn't have the sequin socks, the glove. Ice-T made the famous joke, about when I think it was on Arsenio where he was talking about, people. He was the electric rapper in one of the Breaking movies, and he said, well, anybody who wants to rag me about that, just think what you were wearing when you went to the theater that night. Not to say that we were dressed like him, but to say, the style of clothing that may have been around back then.
The Jerry cut.
Well, I mean, no, we had different things. We had like corduroy. We had like corduroy pants, So, I mean, it was different, but I'm just saying, and styles do change over time. But here's the thing. There is also a timeless masculine look, and there is a timeless feminine look. There is nothing about a masculine creature that exposes a part of his anatomy made to be penetrated. Now, a female, a gutter female, a lascivious female, a salacious female, bottom line is females do that. Now, she might not be the most reputable one, but females do that. Males do not flaunt body parts and areas of their body that can be penetrated. That's a strictly feminine gesture. And
exactly.
Understand something.
Right. We didn't. I know I'm on the too long.
Okay, well, slow down. I need my callers tonight to calm down a little bit. When you talk about things like breaking, when you talk about things like electric boogaloo, when you talk about things like that, please understand at the same time we had The Last Dragon, we had Jim Kelly. I mean, so you might be able to name Breaking and whatnot, and that also these were movies that were put out by white executives. Which once again, if you can't take those as being indicative of what we were doing because those were caricatures. Those were things meant to get attention because their frame of reference was Kiss and rock bands. So they imprinted.
The caricature?
Say again.
Would you say the Second Pants is another caricature, like a modern day?
Yes. I mean, that is a caricature. So, because what I'm saying is that most of the so-called gangster rap that was put out wasn't even by gangsters. That was the problem. The only real gangsters who ever filtered into the industry wound up in prison. KRS One said it. He said there's no such thing as gangster rap because gangsters don't rap. Well, he was only halfway right about that. But the real ones, the real serious ones, nah, man, that's not what happened. So what I'm saying is we've been sold an image, and without a viable masculine father figure in the home, the boys gravitated to whatever they could get. And that's number one on television or number two on the street corner. And most of your street corners are influenced by what they see on television. Today, now the internet. So now you have a bunch of boys, and this is why I was showing the footage and whatnot that I had, of a bunch of dudes sitting up here dressed like Quavo and dressed like Offset. So we're not even in the gangster rap era anymore. We're in the moist boy era.
But see, it's confusing because those men you just named are still providers. They're still so-called high-value men in the financial scale. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I would challenge that notion. I would say that's a misnomer. And this is why I don't like terms like high value, because the people who use them don't actually understand what it means. They are not high value. They're pretending to be. And this is the problem I have. They're sowing confusion. They're not high value. I can show you my producer friends. You all know the celebrities I know. If you don't, I don't know how you ended up here. But anyway, these are people I know. These are guys I know. The folks are getting on the internet and pretending to be all kinds of things that they're not. And it causes confusion because they're not able to properly define for you all and set the parameters of what you should be looking for. Quavo and Offset are involved in a lawsuit against their own damn management right now. Cardi B bought a house. Her and Offset, I think, have a house in Atlanta somewhere. Here's the problem. I'd be willing to bet you dollars to donuts that she paid for the damn thing. And not him. We make a lot of assumptions about what the capacity of these individuals are when in reality their job is just to show up a certain way. They are suing their own management for money that they say they haven't gotten. And what I'm telling you all is that once the music video is off and they take out all the payments and what you owe them, the upfront for the residuals for your takes out your royalties and whatnot, they take out your advances out, then we're going to find out that these guys ain't really doing that. Everybody is putting out an image, and this is one of the things I don't like about Atlanta. I've always said this. You go to Lenox Mall in Atlanta, and everybody's performing. This is what I mean. Everybody's dressed up like something from a music video. They're all performing. They're all auditioning. They're all, it's like a sports jersey. They're attempting to imprint this vision of power on themselves. Like when somebody wears a Michael Jordan jersey, do they really think they're Michael Jordan? Not really, but they're trying to imprint some part of that power on themselves. So when you see them dressed like Quavo and Offset, you are correct that is the image they've taken. I mean, look, Ric Flair drip. I saw the video. So yeah, he rolls up in a Bentley that's rented and whatnot. I mean, remember like Chris Brown. Chris Brown just got out of the record contract that he had that now allows him to own his masters. 10, 12 years later, he just got that. If you take a look, and you all can go take a look at this for yourselves. Remember when that white girl lied and said that he had a gun in his home and whatnot, and the police came and busted in the front door and they're flipping the house upside down? Did you take a look in his garage?
It was like or something.
Wait. But did you if you all go back and check out those news stories on YouTube, take a look in his garage on those news clips. I think there was a Range Rover maybe and some other car. It wasn't an expensive one, but a Range Rover, some other car. Now, the night that he got into the incident with Rihanna, he was driving a Lamborghini. The Lamborghini was rented. Every other place you've seen him and Justin Bieber, those cars are rented. The car he was in with Rihanna that night was rented. He's got a sensible car at his sensible house in his sensible driveway. But he's an entertainer, so they're selling you an image. Problem. These boys have not been raised by men. Women are thrilled with a Chris Brown or an Usher because they get starry-eyed. As men, we're not supposed to be starry-eyed. We're supposed to be looking at him and saying, okay, that's the persona you portray. Let's see where the real dollars is at. And then we just make a conscious decision. Okay, you ain't really holding like that. That's an image you're putting out there. I ain't putting salt on the game. I understand it. Go get whatever little money you're going to get. But I'm not going to give you credit for something I know that you're not. But these young folks out here today, these young boys without proper male guidance, they're giving Quavo and Offset credit for things they don't actually have. Just an image.
Yeah.
And you and I are supposed to know that we never bank on image. We only bank on tangibles.
Yeah. Hey, man, thank you for the advice. I really appreciate how you showing we can see through this generational gap.
Well, look, the guys who set this thing up, man, they've been there the whole time. Remember, it was, I want to say they were actually in the movie, in Shaft and the one with Rudy Ray Moore and Jim Kelly was that one of the producers was playing one of the cops in the movies. They were one of the things that the white men like to do. The white men who were paying for these blaxploitation movies, brother, they've always been doing that. So from Cadillac Records to the black exploitation films to breaking to gangster rap, there's always these white hands that are manipulating the image and making money and capitalizing off of selling this image. So it's generational. It's Superfly, the Mac, Black Caesar. It's generational. They pass this stuff down to their heirs and their children and say, hey, here's how you make money off these folks by selling this image. So it's generational. The guys who were there with Jim Kelly and Fred Williamson now, those guys might be dead, but their children or grandchildren are still working at the studios. Remember, Sumner Redstone is dead. His daughter has taken over Viacom. We can go down the list. I wouldn't even go down the Bronfmans
behind martial arts.
Well, yeah, I mean, but when you talk about these media companies and whatnot that have sold these images, this is the family business for generations. They did it in the 70s with blaxploitation. They did it in the 80s with breakdancing, late 80s with gangster rap, mid 80s with that, and street rap, urban, whatever you want to call it, urban culture, and so on, so-called urban culture. But it's not. It takes a seed from us, and then they take it and distort it into something and mutate it into something they can use for their benefit. But our problem is when we start being informed about our own lives from that. And when you have a proper man in the home, that doesn't happen. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 919. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Nicole Hughes, and I'm 51 years old, and I'm a community service director. And I have a really hard time. I've been seeing these black women who don't have brains to themselves to think what I'm doing, while I'm raising these boys and all that stuff. Some of them never even heard about the term strong black families. If we don't get what we are today away from the thug life and the molesting, and, I was sexually molested myself, we would have had more strong values in this urbanist society than ever. So I'm just taking on my toll of being fully elected of what I'm ready to do. And I know I have a Jamaican father, I have a Southern mother, and, they usually, conflict with each other. And I just want to open up my heart for the strong black families that, they need to sit down and talk more and all of that. But we don't get the whole notion of sit down and talk to each other the way we did as much as years later we have to sit down and talk to our children. So I say, we need more strong black families to get along as much. Yes, I've seen the way you added up how these black women are still being alone and don't even get the right men they need it when you got the other black ones, black men holding on Becky all the time. And that's not right. So I think it's very important that we need each other to hold that strong bond, really.
Well, I definitely agree with that.
Hello?
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 901. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Michelle calling from Memphis, Tennessee. How are you?
Hello, Michelle from Memphis. Well, the bastard baby capital of America. What's on your mind?
Oh man. So I'm
not being mean. Let me make sure I clarify right quick. I'm not being mean, by the way, to everybody who does not know. I'm not being mean. Memphis, Tennessee is the illegitimate baby capital of America.
Yeah, it's bad over here.
You can go look that statistic up. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that I agree with everything you're saying, and I just wish, I'm 28 now, but I wish that when I was 24, 25, that I knew these things, and it would have saved me a lot of pain in relationships and with men, and and I'm just kind of sad because I know that a lot of women, a lot of mother figures, they weren't really mothers to a lot of us women. Like, they didn't teach us how to interact with men like how we should, or be there for men. It was always about what they should do for us and what we should get out of the situation. But when it came to actually having a conversation or knowing who these men were, we were just pretty much left by the wayside. And so that's all I wanted to say.
Well, let me find out here, Michelle. You said it would have saved you a lot of trouble. Do you have any kids?
Huh?
Do you have any kids?
Yeah, I have two.
And have you ever been married?
And one on the way. Yeah.
You got two kids?
Right here, like one on the way.
Okay, she got two kids and one on the way in Memphis, Tennessee. So she better be married to somebody out there, because she's gonna be.
I'm getting married at the end of the year.
Oh, I'm getting married at the end of the year, baby. The year just started.
Yeah, we've been planning since last year, though.
Oh, Lord. Okay, all right.
And my fiance said he salutes you and he respects everything that you say too.
Okay, Negro, then he already knows. And don't got to wait till the end of the year. He can go to the Justice of the Peace and get you married tomorrow. So I'm just curious why he's been stringing you along for a year and he's holding on out. So just tell him I've heard
he's
this.
Not settling for less over here.
All right,
so.
I've heard this story before. So tell him okay.
Really?
Oh, tell him okay now. I'll be watching on that because he knows what I'm going to say. Dude, if she's the one, what's the hold up?
He over here saying you can get married to me.
Yeah, bring it. Oh, if he's over
married to me right now.
Oh, if he's over there, bring him over here. Let me holler at him.
If she had a twin, I want her too.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. What's the hold up, bruh? You've been stringing her along for a year.
Said, what's the hold up? Hold on, go ask him that. Here you go. What's the hold up?
What's up with you, brother?
Well, man, brother, what's the hold up here? You've been stringing this girl along for a year now, and she's talking about it'll be the end of 2021. Man. You ain't sure she's the one yet?
Man, she just guesstimated, man. It's been crazy, man, with all this COVID stuff, man. And we live in in the real part of Memphis, man. You know, I gotta hold my family down, man. So don't nobody kick me in our door and stuff, man. And, police crooked over here, man. There's all kind of stuff going on, man. But I'm gonna tie that knot ASAP though.
Okay, bro, because you can go down to the courthouse tomorrow morning and do that now, unless you're not sure about the DNA results. Now, if you're still waiting for Maury to get back to you with the results, then I'll give you a pass for a minute, and you maybe let him come back with the DNA first so you can be sure. But if that's not the reason, I'm just like, bro, you sitting up here helping her get pregnant and whatnot. That's not the move. Yeah. That's not the move. If you gonna do all that,
I ain't mean to cut you out, brother. Man, I got two other boys, and then I got two by her. I'm taking care of all of them, man. But she the best one out of my other two baby mamas, man. They ain't nowhere near on her level. You know what I'm saying? But I'm taking care of. I pay all the bills, man. I take care of all the business. She just she take care of the children and cook and clean and stuff, man. But I pay for everything. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again, and I can't wait to hear when you two go ahead and tie the knot. I can't wait to hear from you.
Yes, sir. I'll make sure she get on the waiting list again, and we'll update you, man.
Okay. If you all think for a single damn second that he's gonna marry that girl, that silly, ditzy, goofy gal, if you think for a moment that that's gonna happen, you're sillier than she is. Caller from area code 443, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Michael. I'm calling from Baltimore, Maryland.
Michael from Baltimore, what's on your mind?
Yes, about this topic. Like, four of my friends, we was talking about it. We went from making $50,000 in 2010 and taking out IT careers all the way to now. We make, I think a piece, we make like $150,000 now. Now, coming from where I come from, I'm from the hood. Like, it was hard to not date girls in your environment that you grew up. So we encountered a lot of stuff, like if the girls really liked us for us, or was they just dating us for their parents? And like, we graduated from college and everything. Now that I'm 38, I had to expand my horizons. I've been working for the Department of Defense for like 10 years. So dating has been like, it's crazy here. It's the girls in my generation, because I'm 38, who kids are now 21, they're out competing with them now. So it's like we have a plethora of like women here and old women here.
Yeah.
And they like competing against their daughters.
And there's no way to do that. I mean, if I may to just be brutally honest, Females in their late 30s don't realize how different something as simple as their skin feels. You can't compare how tight and taut but yet supple a 20-year-old's in proper shape is to a 35 or a 40-year-old. It ain't even the same thing. The epidermis doesn't even feel the same. You're nowhere near as tight. Nothing is the same. It is not the same. Now, you might not be, ready for the senior citizen home, but you can't compete with a 20-year-old. Now, as men, we're required to do that. We're required to give up the game when it's over. Nobody spares our feelings when we're no longer able to compete. If we can't bring the goods, they just drop the hammer on us. Hey, you ain't got it no more. Sit your ass down. Nobody tries to spare our feelings.
Right.
But the women, unfortunately, we got an apparatus that spares their feelings and tells them, oh, girl, you still got it and whatnot, when it's so obvious that they don't have it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. By the way, I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but did you all notice that she sounded a bit smarter than him? She sounded a bit smarter than him, so I don't know if it's that good game can overcome no matter how smart a chick thinks she is, or was she looking for somebody that she thought she could psychologically dominate, and it's like, girl, you are in a world of trouble now. Caller from area code 570, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's going on, brother? My name is Bolo TV, calling from New York City.
Bolo from New York, what's on your mind?
Doing, man. I think a lot of us we need to reach back to these youngins and start dealing with them and start letting them understand how to love themselves. Because it doesn't matter how much money you got, if that self-worth and that self-love doesn't come from you, you're just going to be continuing the cycle, even though you're now making more money. You're just going to go for the same women. So I think if brothers like yourself start giving the examples of what men are supposed to do morally, you know what I'm saying, the leaders, the guiders, the providers, and the nurturers, and just understand that we have a lot of men right now running this earth with the tendencies of women because they're being raised by women and there's no father in the home. So I think that, with the example that you're giving, and you're not, what I like about what you're saying is you're not just focusing on the money aspect, because it's not just the money aspect. Because if a man is not making so much money, you can still have a moral standard and still demand a certain way to be taught and a way to be treated as a man. So I just wanted to give you some kudos on that and props on that, man. I just came across your channel today, and I love what I'm seeing and I love what I'm hearing.
Well, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. You can certainly have principles, and principles are necessary. I would never encourage anybody to not have principles. That would be a dangerous individual. But principles without the resources to enforce those principles will ultimately prove useless. Let me get caller from area code 571. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Melody.
Hello, Melody, and where are you calling from?
The DMV area.
Okay, Melanie, where at are you calling from? DMV is a region.
Maryland.
Okay, what city in Maryland?
Around Silver Spring.
All right, and what is on your mind?
Well, I have a question for you. So, from my observation, I feel like the women that cook, take care of a man, and do everything to better a man, like assist them and, just like love him, right? Pretty much. And the guy end up cheating. And I just want to know why. I want to know why they do that
so
to the good women.
Okay, well, hold on a moment. So you're saying that you were with a fella and you think that you did right by him. You think you did a good job loving him, and yet he cheated on you.
Basically, yes.
Okay. There are really only three things you need to find out. First of all, how old are you?
26.
Okay. How old is he?
Oh, God. He's 25.
You're 26 and he's 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't know when I met him. I mean, it just happened, so it's not like I knew his age
Wait a minute now.
when I met him.
Okay, you're acting like that's some big deal. You said you're 26 and he is 25?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the big deal? I mean, you're both about this. You're both pretty much the same age. How is that a?
No, I'm basically saying, like, you know, whenever I mistreat a guy, like, I don't care for him and I don't call him, text him, or give him any attention, those guys are the ones that treat me better.
Well,
That's
yes.
the one, you know, I give my attention, my money, you know, take care of him. And
Well, yeah, that's.
it's not just because of this one, it's just in the past too, so it's like a pattern.
Well,
So
no, I mean that's
I
the real
feel
thing,
like-
right? That's the real thing right there. Is that what you are exhibiting is the men that you actually value. Those are the ones that you produce for, and the men who actually value you, it seems like those are the ones you're abusing. So you end up. This is a typical female situation. The one who excites you is the one who's going to abuse you. And the ones who take care of you, well, they bore you, so you end up abusing them. Here's the problem. That's an incredibly selfish, immature way to behave. I did tonight's program because as a young woman, you're 26 years old, which means you are coming off of the peak of your prime viability. You don't have any more time available to engage in this nonsense. You cannot go around here abusing the. If you are so psychologically, and I mean this as nicely as I can say it, if you are so emotionally unbalanced that you abuse the men who would take care of you, and you gravitate to and expend yourself on the men who abuse you, do you realize this is going to be a lifelong issue? Where you're never going to be happy because eventually you're not going to have even a frame of reference of how to get along with anybody who won't do you like that. You will have walked through and wasted all of the men who are going to do right by you, and you're acting like there's just going to be an endless supply of them. And that's not the way it works. Eventually you run out of options, and all you'll be stuck with are the bad boys who you are willing to get excited for, but they will not do anything for you, and they will not invest in your life because he doesn't have any resources to invest. All he invests in is bringing you excitement, and he figures I don't have to do anything else. You'll have at this point right now, you're dangerously, perilously in danger of having nothing in common with men who would actually do something right by you. That's where you're at right now. That you are losing the vocabulary to even be able to speak to them. And all you're going to be left with are the stupid boys. That's all you're going to be left with.
But I'm not saying abusing. It's like, you know, every woman goes through it. It's like, you know, she like a guy and she treat him right. She cook for him. She do this, do that. And then he end up breaking her heart. So next time when she go date another guy, she's gonna be like very mean and
right. But here's
the other one
but here's the issue. The issue is the guy who you gave yourself to, who didn't do right by you. Were there warning signs?
With this one, no. Like I was blindsided. He was actually cheating. He was cheating. Yeah.
Untrue. Not true, ma'am. Not true at all. Let me ask you, what was it about him that you liked?
Oh my God, the excitement. I mean, there was just this excitement that he gave me.
What excitement? What do you mean by excitement?
I mean, it's like, how do I say it? Like, his phone calls excite me. His texts excite me. I mean, if I'm thinking about him, I get excited. And all day I can talk to him, I can get excited. Like versus another guy.
So what you're
from. So he's the one that could make my heart jump.
In the interest of time, what you are describing is that you are having a primal sexual reaction to this guy. That's it. You have it. All you've described are physical characteristics. Do you know what you didn't say? You didn't say his intellect. You didn't say his work ethic. You didn't say his productivity at his job. You didn't even say his income. All you've talked about are specific physical characteristics. So what I'm saying is all the things that you found exciting, all the things you liked about him, these were the warning signs. because you don't actually have standards or a standard for what you should expect from a man. It is, if he sexually turns me on, then that's it. And the guys who didn't turn you on quite so much, those are the ones you were like, they're cool people, but they're boring. Let me get back to Mr. Excitement.
Yeah.
And Mr. Excitement, here's the real problem. You think you're special. You think that the way he made you feel was just fate or kismet, or you two were soulmates. Baby, he does this to every female. He knows how to push all y'all's buttons.
I actually found him. Yeah, I actually found him texting multiple women on his phone.
I'm explaining it. I'm explaining it to you, okay? You need to sit back, soak up the game, okay? You're the one who didn't see this coming. You're literally young enough to be my daughter. You're young enough to be my daughter. Just listen as I lay out the game for you, okay? You're the one who didn't see, because I told you there were warning signs. You said, no, there weren't, not for him. And I said, yes, there were. Let me show you. And as soon as I started asking you, get somebody who actually asks the right questions. Sorry, folks, the copycats don't. Get somebody who asks the right questions, and you immediately showed that you were flooded with warning signs, starting with your complete lack of having a standard. Your standard was, he sexually turns me on. Therefore, I should spend time with him. Rather than having a real standard that says, hey, what about his character? And character doesn't mean what a lot of bummy dudes think it means, well, I'm a nice guy. No, character means, does he have intelligence? Does he have principles? Does he have a work ethic? Does he believe in being a producer? Does he believe in sacrificing to make life better for all the people around him? And you didn't say, don't try to interject it now, because when I asked you, you didn't say that. You already said what it was that attracted you to him. And it had nothing to, it had no, ma'am, that's it. Stop it. It has no, don't even try to fix it now. You said what you meant. He made me Twitter and get me Twitter pated, and that was what I liked about him. And I'm telling you, and that's where you done messed up at. Right there. You started bad because you have a taste for that, is what I'm telling you. And your taste for that superfluous candy is what blinded you to the fact that there wasn't nothing substantive to keep. That's the problem. You are not understanding. The problem isn't him. The problem is you. The problem is your standards are bad. Well, if he turns me on, that ain't a standard. When you become an adult, you will realize that that can't play into your thinking in any way. Because if he appeals...
And what kind of standards can I have?
If
what
he...
kind of standards can
I'm
I
explaining it to you. If he is... When a man specializes in sex appeal, you need to understand he knows what he's got. And you ain't the only one. If his primary asset is sex appeal, then you need to understand sex appeal is useless if you don't have people to use it with. There are going to be other women because all this guy has got is sex appeal. He doesn't have character, income, resources, intelligence, principles. He doesn't have any of those. All he's got is sex appeal. And as long as you all are responding to it like that, guess what? He's going to use it. And he's never going to be satisfied with just one because he defines himself by his sex appeal. So he can never have just one of you. He's going to have to be like a promiscuous female and get a bunch of you. Otherwise, his sex appeal is worthless. That's the part that you need to understand. So what you need to do is adopt a real standard that you can actually trust with some characteristics that aren't going to have you awake at night crying in your pillow because you got bamboozled because you are shallow when it comes to standards. Start valuing.
Yeah, that's out the window.
Start valuing these three things in a man: intelligence, productivity, and principles. Those are the three things. Intelligence, productivity, and drive. He needs to be intelligent, he needs to be productive, and he needs to be driven. And you will be a beneficiary of, when you get a man who has that perfect trifecta, you will be a beneficiary of all those things. Because when a man is intelligent Answers are a side effect. I want you all to listen to it very, very carefully right now as I go ahead and give you the 720 degrees of analysis you'll receive nowhere else. Understand, when a man is intelligent, answers are a side effect of being around him. It's not even something you have to
Do
work
you think
for.
age matters?
Okay.
Do you think age matters?
Age doesn't.
Like for him,
okay,
for men?
I'm explaining here. Just listen. Hold your questions until after class. But age isn't quite as important. Age is not quite as important as you might think. I'll get back to that here in just a moment. It's not quite as important as you might think. You seem to be rattled about the fact that he was a year younger. So this tells me there's some cultural things going on there, that you come from a culture where that would kind of was something you were kind of iffy about. I'm going to come back to that because it's not nearly as important as you might think for a number of good reasons. But first of all, you need to listen. Stop talking and listen. Number one, when a man is intelligent, answers are a side effect of being around him. When he's intelligent, he finds answers. He might be frustrated, but he's going to keep at it till he finds the answer, because thinking is what he does. When he is productive, money is a side effect. It's not even something he has to work for. When you are productive, the money makes itself. He doesn't have to fight. You don't have to worry about the bills. You don't have to worry about if he's going to get you a gift. And you don't have to worry about if he's going to provide for you at a level you haven't seen before. Money is a side effect when you're productive. And when you are driven, results become a side effect. It's not even something that takes a lot of work. Results are a side effect of a driven person. Results. If his relationship isn't good, he's going to drive himself to fix it. If his woman's not happy, he's going to drive himself to fix it. Now, he shouldn't make her the center of his universe necessarily, but he's going to make sure that within her scope of importance that she's taken care of, and he's not going to accept excuses from anyone, including himself. Now, those are standards that a woman can rely on. She can build a life on it. She can count on that. She's dealing with a man who is of his word. And if he says, this is what I'm going to do, because he is driven, that's what he's going to do. Because he defines himself by his results. And if he has told you that this is what he's going to do for you, this is what he's going to do for you, not because of you, but because that's how he defines himself. Just like Mr. Sex Appeal defines himself by getting foolish young girls to get excited. Mr. Driven defines himself by the results that he delivers from his productivity. Does that make sense now?
Okay. Yes.
Now, where are your people from? Where are your people from?
Egypt.
Okay.
Around there.
I thought so. So you actually come from a intact matriarchal society. And there are a lot of good things about that. Let me find out here. Do you have a relationship with your father?
No.
Okay, now, are you a black Egyptian or an Arab Egyptian?
Black.
Okay. You don't have a relationship with your father. You do realize you're already screwing up, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't understand how to vet.
I mean, he's married to my mom. They live together, but I don't have a relationship with
Hit
them.
the brakes. My female callers tonight want to run off at the lip, and they don't know anything. Baby, you are too flawed and too faulty to evaluate the males you're talking to. You have clearly demonstrated you don't have the insight or judgment to be able to make these evaluations. You're trying to do it yourself on your own, and you're failing spectacularly. You don't have the maturity, insight, or wisdom to evaluate these men. You don't. I don't care. I don't care what your relationship with your father is like.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Ma'am, your father is forget your mother. I mean what I'm saying. You talking too damn much. And by the way, you are proof that all you fellas talking about going overseas to get a female. If I can get a chick from Africa, I'll be okay. This is your chick from Africa on the phone. She won't shut the hell up. She's from Africa with her thick accent, and she's just as flawed and broken as your Western women. Understand, this problem is not confined to America. This problem is global. This problem is global. She is just as stubborn, just as arrogant, and just as narcissistic as the females here. She thinks she knows it all. She thinks she knows it all. Baby, you don't know a damn thing. You let some guy sit up here and hoodwink you in a situation that should have been terribly obvious. Had he sat down, men who know how to be charming, no matter what their age, he knew how to charm you, and he would have known how to charm your mammy. Guess who he would not have been able to charm? Your father. Your father wasn't going to be sitting there and watch his nice smile and his conked hair and his nice pants and talk about how cute he is. Your father understands that he's got things he wants to do to his daughter. And your father is going to evaluate him like a man evaluates other men. See, we can see immediately when you trying to pull bull crap. A man ain't gonna let another man hustle him. Certainly not some little chap who is young enough to be his son. He wasn't gonna let that dude hustle him. He could have seen immediately, oh, you a little playboy. Yeah. My daughter ain't gonna fool with you. Yeah, my daughter is young, naive, stupid, and her mama taught her to be that way. But I see what you are. You a little playboy. And my daughter is naive and starstruck, but I'm not. Because most of us as men, if we achieved anything in life, we was players too. So we recognize game. And we would have seen the game immediately. You are too naive and too ignorant of the ways of men to be able to recognize game when you saw it. You didn't recognize it. And that's why you got took. But your father would have recognized it. And the problem is you don't want to bring these males in front of your father so that he can vet them. I don't care what your relationship with your father is like. The fact that you are showing this heinous level of disrespect, if I was him, I wouldn't be helping you with the damn thing either. You need to learn some humility and go to your father with some respect.
What did I do?
You need to learn some humility and go to your father with some respect and tell him that you want his help in vetting the males you meet and that you're not going to go on another date with anybody, much less spend money. Let me tell you something. That's the worst kind of prostitute behavior. When a female spends money on dudes and whatnot like that who are not worthy. You can spend money on a fella, but he's supposed to have already proven that he's worth that. And the fact that you're lamenting it means that your standards are corrupted. You need to make it your practice that from this day forward, you ain't gonna date another fella without your father laying eyes and ears on him and rendering a verdict. That if this guy is trouble, your father will tell you. And you're trying to figure out some way to circumvent that, and I'm telling you it ain't gonna work. You're failing. You ain't got it and your mama ain't got it. Give it up, Johnny. It ain't gonna work. Stop being hard-headed.
You're going in on me.
Ma'am, you need somebody to go in on. Someone else needs to go in on you besides these dumb boys. Somebody needs to. You're doing it all wrong. I ain't got to sugarcoat it. I'm not trying to chase you for sex or favoritism. I can just keep it raw and real. You're screwing up. If you were my daughter, this is what I would be telling you. If you were my niece, this is what I would be telling you. If you were my neighbor's daughter, this is what I would be telling you. You are so obviously screwing up and you are refusing to correct it. The problem is you don't have a man you can trust to make these validations for you. You're trying to wing it on your own and you're crashing and burning at every turn. The guys you need to be going with, you're not harnessing the maturity to stifle yourself and sit still. And the fellas you have no business entertaining, you're allowing your emotions to dictate what you do. And the result is you've been tasting other women. If I may to just keep it raw with you. By the way, you've been tasting other women. You've had sex with this guy? Of course you had. He ain't gonna keep you around if he didn't. So you ain't no virgin. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, if you've kissed him anywhere other than on the cheek, you've been tasting other women. I guarantee you that he done come to see you at least a couple of times and ain't even washed up in the sink at her house. I gotta hurry up and get back over here, the old girl. Came to see you. I guarantee you've been tasting some other women. If I can just say that in brutally graphic terms, since the point ain't getting through to you. You done found out what a couple of other gals taste like. Now, if you want to stop that kind of thing from happening, you better get a man into your vetting process. Because a father ain't going to let some dude sit up here and slut out his daughter. I don't care what y'all's relationship has been like. Your father ain't going to let some clown sit up here and walk into his house with the daughter that he created. Certainly not if is your father Egyptian? Is he from the continent?
Yes.
Is he Muslim?
No.
Is he Christian?
Yes.
Okay, but your father is a Christian from the continent, correct?
Yes.
Okay, he ain't gonna have it either. There's really only there's very little daylight between the Egyptian Muslims and Egyptian Christians as far as standards and behavior. Very little daylight. Your father is not gonna sit up here and let some clown sit up here and run through his damn daughter. He ain't gonna do that. Do you have any kids?
No.
Okay. Your father is not going to be up there. But your father sees you hard-headed and you probably take after your mama and he ain't trying to have it. He sees too much of your mama in you.
Yes, I never even mentioned my dad around him. Like, he wondered. He also, he never talked about your dad. And I think he's fine. He's older.
Okay.
I just cover it up like that.
That's a bad sign. Do you realize that dudes look for girls who are separated from their fathers? That means that the wolf ain't around. The hen house is completely open. The foxes can go in the damn hen house because the guard dogs ain't there. You're not even sharp enough or knowledgeable enough or mature enough to understand dudes look for chicks who ain't got a father around. He understands ain't nobody there with your mama. Hell, this his drawers are wide open. And they were. You're the only one who doesn't see that the questions you were being asked were not being asked for the reasons that you told yourself they were being asked. They were being asked for different reasons, and you didn't catch it. The guy sat there and told you, you don't talk about your dad very much. And my relationship with my dad ain't good. Oh, really? So you don't have
I never said that. I said,
dear, you said it with your actions. You said it with your actions.
Yes.
You told him with your, this is what I mean, you keep flapping your damn gums. You act like you're so smart, baby. You don't really know anything. These are basics you don't have, and you're trying to save face. And this is what I'm telling you. I know it must have been a hard-headed ass, stubborn female who put this in you. And your daddy was just like, you're too much like your damn mama. And he's going to let you learn your lessons the hard way. So you've been out here letting dudes sit up here and hit you in the head with their whatevers. Probably got a damn sex video of you out there somewhere. Don't even lie and say you ain't. Again, shut the hell up. You damn sure do. You damn sure do. That's what chicks who don't have their fathers around and got little playboys running through them, all of y'all got a video. All of you. ALL. So just save it. And your father has just been like, you know what? Hard head make a soft ass. And I will let these boys teach her what she doesn't know. I'll let them teach her. Because she's not listening. She doesn't respect the insight and knowledge that I have. Because I chose the wrong woman to have her with. And now the daughter is out here exemplifying all the worst characteristics of her mother. And that's exactly what you're doing.
But can I say one thing?
She still wants to talk.
No, I just want to say something. I called you, out of respect. So, obviously if I didn't value your opinion, I wouldn't call. but like this experience taught me like not to be a good woman, to be honest with you, not to be nice, not to cook, not to care for a man, and not
it doesn't
to,
matter.
you know, just be careless, you know.
It doesn't matter because you didn't value the men who were worth cooking and sacrificing for. You didn't value them. So, baby, you're making idle threats. You're trying to act like, I don't think I'm going to do things. I don't think I'm going to do right by men. This is making me harder. Baby, you were a waste. To worthwhile men, you were a waste. You already had guys who weren't going to put you through all these changes and all this bullcrap. You didn't value the worthwhile men. So now you're going to try to threaten them? Oh, I'm not going to be a good woman. You weren't a good woman to the worthwhile men. Now you're going to try to tell us you ain't going to be a good woman anymore. Really? Who are you making? I started tonight's program. I started tonight's program by advising you all that these are idle threats. I started the program by letting you know these are idle threats. You're not threatening the men, ma'am. The first rule of hostage taking is point the gun at the hostage, not yourself. You don't have any leverage to threaten anybody. You've had all this time to demonstrate that you could be a good woman to a worthy man, and your taste is for unworthy men, by your own admission. So you can't threaten the worthy men with withholding something that you were never giving them. And furthermore, even if you did, the only person you're going to hurt is yourself. Do you think you're going to stop having?
I would not hurt myself by not caring.
Unless you're going to become a lesbian or join a convent, you're still going to be dealing with men. The only thing you're going to be doing now is having sex with them and not cultivating any wife skills whatsoever. That's the only thing that's going to change. Dudes are still going to be running through you. Only now it's going to take a worse psychological toll on you. Because now what you're trying to do is the most foolish thing that a female can try to do. You telling yourself you're going to start acting like the men. The men who messed you over. Not even the good men.
Just like
not even the good
they
ones.
act like a lady but think like a man, because men, even if they're in a relationship, they have 2-3 people they're talking to on the side, and that's why they always have a good time when they leave, you know? They don't care. So obviously
this heifer is quoting Steve Harvey. Number one, she's still talking because she thinks she knows it all. Second of all, she just quoted Steve Harvey. By the way, when I say clueless, when we look up clueless in the dictionary, there's a big ass picture of you. Great big picture of you.
Come on, you're humiliating me.
No, you're humiliating yourself. I'm just reporting the news. I'm Jason Cronkite, CBS Evening News, signing off. I'm not humiliating you, baby. I'm just reporting the news. You're humiliating yourself.
So you don't believe in women should act like a lady and act like a man?
No, a woman needs to act like a damn woman, and worthwhile men will respond positively to that. Problem, you haven't been acting like a woman. You've been acting like a hoe. You've been acting like a child. You haven't been acting like a woman. And you are attracting men. The only men that you really want to stick around are the ones who are not going to take care of you, and then you're complaining about the results. And then have the gall and the nerve to try to pretend that you're going to threaten the worthwhile men by withholding proper affection, which you were never giving them in the first place. You're intellectually masturbating yourself. And worst of all, not only are you saying that, well, I'll just emulate the men, you're not even choosing the worthwhile men to emulate. You're saying, first of all, you got screwed over because you have a taste for bad men. And then you're going to sit up here and say, well, I'm going to just emulate the bad men. You're not even smart enough to say, I'm going to emulate the worthwhile men. You're not even smart enough to say that. You need your father. That is the upshot of this discussion. You need your daddy is what you need.
It's too late now.
What, is your father dead?
Huh?
Is your father dead?
No, but he doesn't want to involve in my business.
Okay, do you know why he doesn't want to be involved in your business? Because you're hella messy. And you have not demonstrated to him, because just on this phone call alone, I would respond the same way. You are hella messy, hella trifling, and you're from Egypt? Your folks are from Egypt, and this is the best you can do? You have no respect and no appreciation? You're just going to turn into like the American females.
If you know me
in
in
many
person,
ways worse.
You would like me if you know me in person.
Okay, you know what? Guess what? There's a bunch of folk out there, a bunch of single moms who every time you talk to a single mom, she tells you that her kids like her. And any man can take a look and see your kids like you, but this is not about being liked. It's about do your kids respect you. And this is why you got these kids today that their parents can get jumped on by their mama can get jumped on by the damn police. He's sitting there screaming world star instead of taking action. You know why? Because he likes his mama. He doesn't respect her. So guess what? I mean, the more you talk, the worse it gets. This is not about being liked. This is about being respected. I don't respect you because you have not shown respect for the example that your father has attempted to provide. And rather than you doing the intelligent thing and just shutting the hip-hoppity hell up and saying, you know what, I need to call my dad. You're instead going through your teenage rebellious phase and trying to prove you can do it on your own. Baby, you ain't doing it on your own. You're failing. I'm telling you that you need to stop because you are failing. This isn't working. You're not getting better. The situation's not improving. You're giving Egyptian females a bad name. You're not getting better. You're not doing better. You need to go speak to your father. You need to go apologize to your father. You need his guidance. You don't have another option. You can be stubborn and hard-headed if you want to be, ma'am. You don't have another option. Now it's up to you. Mm-hmm. You can go talk to your father and maybe get some sense and show him that you're actually willing to listen. Or you can keep getting out here and try to do it on your own. But all you're really going to do is make your already egregious body count absolutely disgustingly high. And you're not American enough to be able to even get along with American men well enough to hide it. It'll be too obvious. Maybe it's already obvious that you're the little run-through Egyptian chick. You're not hiding it well. You're not even hiding these things well. I'm telling you, stop for your own good. Stop for your own good. Not because I say it. Stop. Quit while you're behind. The bottom line is call your father. Make up with your dad. You need to reconcile with him. Your mother has misled you. She did not make you an individual who's capable of being able to make these choices and decisions. Your mother handicapped you. You're screwing up everywhere. You're a one-woman Abbott and Costello performance. You're like the Keystone Cops in one body.
Yeah, I never had a successful relationship, and I don't know why. Especially that this one kind of hurts because I'm kind of like giving up about in relationships.
Well, maybe it'll hurt enough for you to for you to give up on trying to handle it yourself. But the bottom line is, I'm not going to keep saying this to you. You need to call your father. You need to make up with your dad.
Okay.
And you need to get your father involved in your interpersonal decisions. Your mother crippled you. You don't have the judgment or the insight to make these decisions. Your mama has given you a corrupted, polluted, foul standard system. She hasn't taught you one iota or modicum of discipline in how to talk to men, how to deal with them. She's got this 20-something-year-old baby running around out here reacting like a toddler to males as opposed to reacting like a female who is interested in a man who can deliver intelligence, resources, and results, which is the only thing that a woman is supposed to have a man around for. And you have proven that you're not even desirous of those things. And that she hasn't given you even a vocabulary or frame of reference to approach a man for it. Baby, you're dead in the water out here and you don't get it.
90 seconds.
You need to talk to somebody who does. Call your father. As a matter of fact, get off my phone and call him right now. All you have to say is, Daddy, I need to talk to you. Talk to me about what? Daddy, I need to call you.
60 seconds.
There is no way he is going to turn you down for that, but you are going to have to be something that he's not going to believe. You're going to have to be sincere. And you ain't sincere right now because you're still trying to have your way. Your way doesn't work.
It's because I don't have expectation from my father anymore.
Okay, you know what? And he doesn't have any. Okay, and he doesn't have any for you. Do you have any uncles?
No.
Okay, then baby, you are in trouble. You are in huge amounts of trouble. I do not know what happened between you and your father, and at this point right now, it is really prologue, quite frankly.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
If he's not in prison, I don't want to hear it. Is he doing time?
No.
Your father doesn't have faith that his daughter is going to listen.
Yeah, because I grew up with my mom, mostly even in the house too.
Correct, and your mother
he never had any decision making.
And your mother has contaminated you, and your father washed his hands of her sickness. It is your responsibility now to convince your father that the poison that your mother put in you has not taken completely. But you're going to have to convince him of that. Here's the bottom line, baby. You're going to have to do this. That's it. You can either do it or get ready for a lifetime of getting passed around from one dude to another. And you won't be able to help yourself because you lack the judgment or discipline to stop it from happening. Thank you very much for giving us a call. You're welcome to give us a call back. Ladies, if you do not learn under a man's leadership, then you will learn under another man's misleadership. I said this at the beginning of the program. I still mean this now. I got a board full of calls up here right now. I'm going to take one or two more phone calls before we wrap things up. Let me get a caller from area code 424. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, you're on live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, man? This is Big Church, man. I'm calling from Chicago, Illinois.
Big Church from Chicago. What's on your mind, brother?
Man, all right, so I got this little situation right here. All right, so basically, I just, out of all the relationships I've been in, has been with all black women. So I just basically diverted over and started dating white women and everything. And people are always critical about it. And like, dog. But yeah, so what's your take on mostly black men diverting to white women? What's your take on that, brother?
I would want to know what that man's motive is.
Like, what you mean, motive? I mean, like, they just want better quality women and
okay, here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. In order to have a relationship with someone, you must have something in common with them. And I'm curious, the type of white women that you are attracted to, exactly what is it that you have in common with them?
Basically, it's just we share the same dreams. So basically, my dream is to basically become a venture capitalist and just own a lot of companies and everything. I mean, like, I own my own vending machine business right now, and I also work at a tire plant, but I'm only giving myself like a year and a half before I quit my job at the tire plant. And
okay, what's that? Okay, I got all that. What's that got to do with the woman, though?
Oh, okay. But I mean, like, yeah, I mean, basically, we just decided to, like, share, I mean, like, to build an empire together. I mean, she always has her resources, like, she's bringing something to the table. She's bringing something to the table versus, like, the other girls.
I don't understand. Okay, brother, that's a metaphor. That's a metaphor. Bringing something to the table. What is she bringing to the table?
I mean, it's whether it's knowledge or it's like, or it's money.
Knowledge of what?
Like,
knowledge of what?
I mean, I say, okay, like, I mean, I date multiple white women now, but it's like they bring, okay, one girl is a nurse, and so she brings, like, I mean, stuff for nursing, and then
okay,
got this one girl who's more business.
Let's stop there. One of them, you said one of them is a nurse and she brings knowledge of nursing. What you just told me though is that you have a vending machine business, you work at a tire shop, and you got something else. Will you please explain to me how her knowledge of nursing helps you with your vending machine business that you say you want to expand and your work at the tire shop? Explain to me specifically how her knowledge of nursing helps you.
I mean, that's just one girl. That's just one girl.
Stop.
Man.
Okay, stop. Okay,
like,
brother, no. We're not going to do that. You're not going to talk around that. You said you talked about her. You're the one who mentioned that as her accolade. I'm asking you if this is really serious and this is what makes the white girls better. I'm trying to figure out how this actually complements what you do. And so far, you haven't been able to tell me. So this is what I mean by what are his motives? Because you told me a list of motives, a list of reasons. And then the first question I ask you about her, you say, oh, well, they ain't got nothing to do with it. Let's give you a second crack at the bat here before we get to the real reason. Care to try again?
Now let's just get to the real reason. Just wait for me with some games. All right, just go ahead, brother.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
How many children do you have?
I have none.
Have you been to prison?
No.
Have you been to jail?
Twice, and I did a 36-hour stint in both of them. So yeah, I mean, it ain't like I've been like for a long period of time.
Okay.
No more than a day and a half.
The last two black women that you were with, did you approach them or did they approach you?
Honestly, it was the first black woman out of the two. I approached her, and the second black woman, she approached me.
And what did you have to offer them?
At that time, for the first black woman, it was just, it was just probably, I wasn't business-minded back then, but it was just, I guess, money. I don't know. What attracted them to me.
Okay, would you just say you didn't
I
have
had a work ethic.
Okay. So, in other words, you had,
I don't know.
Okay, so what went wrong with them?
After we'll get out the honeymoon phase and stuff, man. After you'll get out the honeymoon phase and these girls will just all of a sudden get they will just have the biggest attitudes in the world. They'll get ratchet and all that. I don't be having time for that.
Okay, females don't get ratchet.
I don't like attitude.
Females don't. Okay, but females don't get ratchet. They were already that way. So why are you complaining that the ratchet females that you chose to get with were acting ratcheted, if we can even say that? How can you complain? They didn't become ratchets, dude. That's not the way it works. They were already like that.
But in the beginning, I didn't know that in the beginning, but it was just okay. They become ratchet. They'll have attitudes. They'll have these little mood swings and all that. And
okay.
Don't be having time for that type of shit,
okay. What was your requirement for them when you met them? What was it that you required from a female when you met those two women?
Back in the day, it was just, sex at that time. But then again, with my last girlfriend, my last black girl, it was she was she was in college and everything. She was in school. But, my requirement...
Okay, how old was she? Wait a minute, how old was she?
When I met her, she was 23 and I was 27.
Okay, you're 28 now.
Yeah, so this was about a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all right. So you
when
get the...
me and her met, yeah.
Okay, but do you see the problem here?
All right, what's the problem?
Okay, first of all, you're in your late 20s. You met some females, obviously they're in their earlier 20s because you wanted to get somebody who wasn't quite so adept. you had nothing to offer them. And other than sex, you had nothing to offer. And eventually they got tired of waiting for your potential to pay off. And then they started showing the disrespect that a female is always going to show to a man who is nothing more than potential. However, now you said you're dealing with a number of white women. I think you said 3 of them, did you say?
Yes, there's 3 of them.
Okay, okay. The 3 white women, what do each of them do for a living?
I said, one does nursing, and one white woman I talked to, she help her mom runs a real estate company, and I have another one. She works. She actually works at the tire plant with me. I mean, but we just talk and mess around every now and then. But
okay, let me find out. Let me find out here. The nurse. What size does she wear? Be honest.
I mean, I like my white women BBW anyway. So I mean, I don't know what women's sizes are, but she a nice little white girl with a fat ass.
No, she's just a big fat white girl. All right, so and the real estate chick, what size does she wear?
She a little bit smaller than the nurse, but I mean she a BBW too.
Okay,
I mean,
so all these are 3 sloppy fat white broads is what it is. No disrespect, no disrespect to the white broads listening right now. It's 3 sloppy white chicks is what it is. And now here's the thing about it though, and this is what I mean. When you fellas, if people want to interracially date, I don't necessarily give them a hard time about that. The reason why I take a dim view of it is because I understand that black people as a group approach interracial dating from a sick mindset. They don't approach it from a healthy one. They approach it from a sick one. That white people are somehow that black folk are just a disease and white people are the cure. That merely their white skin will fix everything. And that was what you articulated. Which is why I asked you to compare the differences between these women, and you couldn't actually give me any differences. It was you who is different, not the women. You found a sensible black college. You found a sensible black college female, but you brought nothing to her. You get with the white women, and all of a sudden he wants to be an entrepreneur. He wants to have a good work ethic. I wonder if you would approach those black women bringing the same drive and resources and results.
I laid out a plan.
Okay, thank you. Sir, you brother, you know you don't talk to people like that. You can't compare words to actions. If somebody owed you $5,000 and he told you, I got a plan to pay you, you know full well you're not going to accept that. You're like, call me back when you got my money. Nothing beats results, and you know that. But here's the difference. The difference is okay, brother. Here's the point. The point is, it wasn't like you actually started making concrete results, and then you were still dealing with black women. You waited till you got with the white women and said, "Oh hell, I better bring some concrete tangibles." Yeah, that's a bed buck behavior. That white ice is colder. I got to produce for white folks. I can't bring her no less. I got to bring some real results. If you had brought the real results to the black women, you wouldn't be sitting up here with damn me 3 Gilbert grapes and Honey Boo Boo sitting over here. You wouldn't be doing that right now, brother. And that's a bad, raggedy ass look, man. That's a raggedy ass look. Understand something. Right now, brother, you are destroying your own value. Let's be very, very clear. You're destroying your own value right now. By having these chicks here, what good does it do to be with an entrepreneur, supposed entrepreneur? What good does it do for that, brother? And you live in your females are supposed to be your representatives. Your representatives are bummy. Your representatives are raggedy, and you talking like you stunting. Your representatives are raggedy. These are bad, raggedy representatives that you have, and you acting like something slick is going on, man. It wouldn't matter if you, brother. It wouldn't matter if you're making $1 million a year. Your females are dragging down the value of everything that you think you're doing.
How are they necessarily dragging down the value, though? That's the thing.
Because your woman, your woman is your representative. Did you
they look good. I mean, what you think I be like in these big floppy bras or whatever, that like 300, 400 pounds, like 600 pounds, like
brother? If she's oversized 12, she don't look good. That's just you trying to elevate the standards of what you can actually get. You're trying to reclassify your struggle as a prize, and that's not what it is. Can we just be honest with you, brother? Can we just be honest? If them white women that you're talking to right now were such a hot catch, they'd be with some white men. Can we just keep it real? If they were really that big of a catch, brother, they'd be with some white men. How the hell is it that you got 3 white females and a white man of substance and means ain't picked them up, brother? You sitting up here bragging on they damn cast off hand-me-down females, and you talking like you got some dimes. These are their damn cast-offs. You're the one who doesn't get it.
I mean, I get it 100% or whatever. I mean, but that's just what I'm attracted to right now. That's the thing.
I know you because your finances, because you're struggling and your finances are raggedy and messed up, and this is the best you can do. But don't blame it on black women. The black women at this point right now,
my finances are great. Man.
Right now, the black females look pretty damn smart to avoid you because your standards are corrupted. And the only thing that's going to lead to is trouble. This can only lead to trouble.
Yeah, trouble like hell.
You can only end up self-destructing. That's the only thing you can end up doing. Because your standards and your motives are corrupted. You are doing things for bad reasons. You became productive for white women for no reason other than the fact they're white. And that's it. And you should be productive. You should be productive. Brother, you 28 years old. You had all this time to do it with these black women. It's not about the black women. It is that white women motivated you. And that's a white mommy syndrome. There isn't supposed to be...
I do like older white women too.
Okay, how old are these, quote, older white women?
Oh no, I be falling for the ones that's like in their early 40s but still look good for their age type deal.
Wow. Okay, so you got some middle-aged, barren, unable to reproduce, sloppy cast-off white women.
These ain't the girls I'm talking to.
This is getting worse. The more you say it, I just asked you just now what you said. I like talking to older women. I just asked you what it was. Now you're trying to rewrite it.
I mean, I say I could fall. I mean, I could definitely fall for one of those types of women. The real tough, like
okay. Do these women have children?
White woman.
Do any of these women have children? I know the nurse does.
No, they ain't got no kids. I don't date women with kids, man. I don't do that. Nope.
You might have been better off. Here's the bottom line. The bottom line is that when you were the black women at the time you were talking to them, you had nothing to offer, and the results were predictable. Eventually, a woman is going to demand.
I had a good job.
Okay,
I had a good job.
Okay, but here's the thing: you didn't offer the white women a good job. You offered them an entrepreneur. That's the difference.
I just recently became one like 2 years ago. Well, okay.
We can't give you credit.
About a year ago.
Okay, we can't. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So this is self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, so I mean, like
you were not on point.
It wasn't
you
to
were
please
not.
White women, not like that. Please anybody
No,
to upgrade my lifestyle.
You were not on point, and when you were with the black women, you were attempting to get them to give you benefits for things you had not actually even accomplished. You were trying to offer them imaginary benefits. Eventually, at some point, they began to get smart and they reciprocated by offering you imaginary cooperation.
But at the same time, I think if even, I make probably like close to $70,000 a year now or whatnot versus a year ago. But at the same time, though, even now or whatnot, I don't think, like I got a lot more freedom than most people that I know of or whatnot. Even if I do date a black woman now, I will still get hit with that bullshit attitude that they be having.
Okay, but brother, here's the problem. The problem is your attitude is dripping out of you. So you're being met with the energy that you exude. You are obviously resentful and contemptuous. I'm not going to ask you what your relationship with your mom is like, but you are obviously resentful and contemptuous. And this is what I meant. I started the program by saying, ladies, these boys raised by these single moms, they don't feel like they need to treat you all equally well. They think they need to treat you all equally unwell. They don't hold you all in equal esteem. They hold you all in equal disdain. And your whole attitude toward these black women, period, is you're walking in the door with, I don't need to do anything. That's your disposition. Just the whole way in which you characterize white women versus black women is totally different. And what I'm saying is a person with a good relationship with their mom would never elevate a white woman like that. They would never do that because you have to include your mom in that level of disdain. You have to. And what I'm saying is that this is
supposed to keep your dating life and your mom separate. I mean, like I keep it separate between my family and my dating life.
Okay, clearly there is an attitude toward black women that is not healthy. This is just not healthy. There's nothing healthy about approaching them with disdain. And that usually comes from a parental situation. Because by default, you're approaching them by default with hostility. You don't even know them. You don't even know them.
I don't approach them with no hostility, man.
Brother,
no,
it is
angry black man.
It's not about being angry. It is not about being angry. It is about I don't have to do anything for you. Now, for the white women, he snapped to attention and brought them results. For the black women, he's resentful that they didn't sit around and accept his lack of production. Guess what? If you were offering the white women them same words and no producing, they would treat you the same way. But you didn't give them that opportunity. You brought your worst to the black women and complaining about the fact they wouldn't respect you for it. Why didn't you, if you had brought those white women the same thing, you would have gotten the same behavior, probably worse. But you never gave them that chance. You know why? Because you know white women ain't gonna take it, not even for half a second. And that's what's really disrespectful. The women who actually would have tolerated it, you was like, oh no, I'm gonna disrespect y'all. The women who wasn't gonna tolerate it for a second, you snapped to attention for them. You didn't bring them lack of results for even a moment. You just brought the bacon. And you could have done that for the black females too. You chose not to. You figure I'm older. They should just be grateful they got. She's a little college gal. She should be grateful that she got a man, period. The white women, you know that, they got status. You're not doing them a favor. They're doing you a favor. And you responded accordingly.
I disagree with that 100%, man. I disagree with that.
Sir, I'm looking at your actions. I'm not even guessing. I'm looking at your actions. Otherwise, you would have treated all these women the same. You wouldn't have snapped to attention. You wouldn't be resentful and throwing shade at the black women talking about the black white girls. You would have chalked it up to the fact that, hey, I didn't have my act together with these other females and whatnot, and you still would have made the same decisions. You said that you switched because the black women's attitudes were bad. But you came to them.
They were bad, and like they treated me horribly. Man.
Okay, but brother, you were dusty and bummy. But you was dusty and raggedy. They just responding to the dusty raggedy.
I wasn't even dusty and raggedy.
Yeah, okay, in your opinion.
Okay, I had me a job or whatever. I mean, I had a job.
You work at a tire shop. Dude, you work at a tire shop.
It's a factory, man. It's a factory.
You work at a tire plant. You don't work at IBM. You work at an entry level ass manual labor job, and I'm not saying that there's anything quote wrong with it. I'm just saying don't expect to get esteem. You are doing basic bare minimum performance and then expecting extraordinary results in reaction from the females. That girl who was in college, what was that girl, the college chick, what was she going to school for? Do you even remember?
No, it was social work. I mean, she wasn't. Hell, they don't make money. I mean, hell, we make about the same amount of money.
Okay, here's the thing. The thing is, have you been to college?
Yeah, I have.
What's your degree?
I used to play football in college too.
What's your degree in?
Huh?
What's your degree in?
I graduated.
Okay, thank you.
I left because it was.
Thank you. So the 23-year-old chick automatically knows she's more intellectually developed than you, and you thought she was gonna stick around and respect you. You're not complaining that they turned ratchet. You're complaining that they ran out of respect for you.
Okay.
And there was no way that was gonna last. None. No way. And what I'm saying is that it's not because they're
run out of respect, but I was doing my job as a provider.
No, brother, you fell for the nice guy fallacy. That's the problem.
The nice guy fallacy.
Yes, you fell for the nice guy fallacy.
Nice guy lie.
There's a bunch of you who believe.
Yep, I'm listening.
Brother, you fell for the fallacy that if I'm a nice guy, I ain't in jail, I'm not strung out on drugs, then the females need to respect me like a god because, quote, so many of these other fellas out here is messed up. It's not the way it works, brother. You are not competing against the guys at the bottom. You're competing against the ones at the top.
Uh-huh. And what is the guys at the, what's the difference between me and the guys at the top? So I can learn to elevate my game to that. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, let's be clear about something. Let's be clear about something.
I want to elevate my game to both.
Okay, let's be clear about something right now. I'm going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, but just understand something. When you've got Negroes, when you got coon-minded Negroes, the Donovan Sharps and the Coach Greg Adams and these types who sit up here kissing white women's asses, knowing that in our historical context, they don't have respect for us like that. Understand, you drag yourself down. You cannot diss black women in the presence of white women and think that somehow that isn't also affecting your status with the white women. It's not the way it works. I've had a saying that I've given you all for years. You can rise no higher than your people. When you sit up here and have this disdain for black women, you're lowering yourself. White women don't express disdain for white men. I don't care who the Negro is. I don't care how good the sex is. I don't care how more endowed you think you are. I don't care about the alpha maleism or what you tell yourself. A white woman isn't going to disrespect white men as a group in front of you. She ain't gonna do it. She's not gonna do it. Go find the biggest wigger, Danielle Bregoli, whatever. We all know that's an act now. Niggas keep falling for it. It's an act. White women do not disrespect white men in front of us because they understand that in American society, white is status and that she is second in the pecking order. She knows that her status comes from white men. And if she lowers the value of white men, she is automatically lowering the value of herself. She ain't gonna do that because she knows that's her leverage. Somehow a lot of these brainwashed Negroes out here have told themselves the delusion that they can diss black women and that somehow that doesn't affect their value in the eyes of those white women. Meanwhile, you got white girls out here braiding their hair, twerking their little bony butt cheeks, and every damn thing else to try to imitate black women. And y'all are sitting up here trying to lower the black women as if somehow you're not in the same boat with them. I correct black women, but I do not ever lower them below white women. I don't ever sit up here and tell a white woman how much better she is. Sometimes our women need to be disciplined, but I would never crook my mouth in front of a white woman to sit up here and saying, you know, another problem with these black women is, no, that's that plantation Negro talk. Well, hello there, Miss Ann. You know, the rest of these Negresses over here, they ain't doing right. Like you're an honorary white person. It's goofy as hell. It looks silly and goofy as hell. You are not one of them. You cannot be one of them. You will never be one of them. You cannot fit in with them. There's nothing about you that is compatible. And every time you do that, you're lowering yourself. You're not lowering black women. You're lowering what the white women think of you. So just understand first and foremost, your very attitude, the disdain with which you speak about black women, and even the disdain in your voice when you talk about them, brother, that's not reflecting on black women. That's reflecting on you. In the eyes of white women, you're a race traitor. That's what you need to understand. And they'll enjoy the benefits of you because there ain't a white man offering them nothing. So, of course, they're going to accept you. There are no white men or any non-black men offering them anything. They'll stick with you until a white man with some resources comes along. And you know that, by the way. You know full damn well your card has already been punched. You know full damn well, them big jiggly hoes, if a white man with some resources come along, you know you the first thing out. You're getting thrown out like a bad tire, pardon the expression, and you already know it. You know you ain't got no stroke whatsoever with that nurse, with the real estate chick. You know full damn well she's looking for a Brad. The nurse is the only one you might have a chance with, but that's it. She's looking for a white doctor. The real estate chick is looking for a white developer. And the chick at the tire plant is looking for a white manager. Ain't none of them holding out a candle for you. You're just here until something sensible comes along to keep the boredom away.
I mean, hell, at the same time, they end up leaving. Hey, that's their loss.
Okay, here's the problem. The problem is you are wasting. Okay, you can say those words, but it's stupid because you're wasting time. Time is your most valuable resource. And if you're spending time with people, those people need to be enhancing your abilities. They don't need to just be hanging around. And if they are expendable, that means they weren't valuable. So you can't sit up here and tell me the lie that they were valuable and simultaneously expendable. So which is it? They're these white women that you said at the beginning, they're so valuable and they bring me insights and, oh, they help me with this, that, and the other. Or, hey, if they disappear tomorrow, it's great. Well, then they weren't very valuable. So which one is it? Are they valuable or are they expendable?
I mean, I don't cry when people leave. When people leave, I
didn't say that.
I don't cry when people
Sir,
leave.
if
people
you
gonna
lose,
come and go. People gonna come and go.
Okay,
dog.
but
So,
you should never let go of valuable people.
I can't make nobody stay. So
okay,
if you gonna go with somebody else, they go with somebody
you
else. I don't care.
You cannot make
really
a valuable
anyway.
Sir, you can't make a valuable person stay, but you need valuable people to stay. Now, do you need them or are they expendable?
Yeah, expendable, man. I don't need them.
Then in other words,
I don't like black people
thank
like
you.
that.
They're not valuable. And that's my point is they're not valuable. And if you ever reach a point where you can attract and retain actual valuable people, then your lot will change. Until then, it is a corrupted, contaminated, diseased mindset.
Okay.
But I would rather you keep your diseased mindset over there with them. We got enough problems in black society. So I actually endorse what you're doing. Take that foolishness out of the black community altogether. You stay over there with them and y'all do y'all's thing. And you go mess up their lives over there with them. Because at the end of the day, they're going to find out it's a red herring too. They just haven't figured it out yet. But you have my endorsement. If you're looking for my endorsement, you have my endorsement to stay over there with them. You have my endorsement.
I ain't looking for nobody endorsement.
It reminds me of somebody else. I can't quite put my finger on it. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it reminds me of somebody else. And I had to tell her that I endorsed her interracially dating also. She thought I was going to be against it. I'm like, no, I endorse it. No, in your case, I endorse it. I can't remember her name. Can't remember exactly who she was.
That's exactly what your thoughts was. I mean,
yeah, I can't remember her name on the top of my head, but if I remember her name, if it comes back to me, I'll think about it. Okay, I won't keep saying that. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Please do give us a call again here. Let me take one more phone call. Let me get a caller from area code 870. You're on live with The Business. Turn off your speakers. Okay, caller from 870 has been abducted. Let me get caller from area code 347. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you're calling from?
Hello, this is David from Brooklyn, New York. How are you?
David from Brooklyn. What's on your mind?
I just want to give you all the props and kudos. It's amazing. First time hearing you. I just discovered you maybe an hour ago, and I'm amazed.
Thank you very much. Glad to hear that.
The level of, intelligence and, being able to read people very well.
Well, like I say, we laid the foundation. I've got a lot of copycats out there now who have made a lot of hay off of what we've done. And hopefully a lot of you will find the foundation that they all ripped it off from, so you can actually get real actionable information and insights, not folk guessing their way through it and coming up with all the wrong answers when you actually listen to what they have to say. So I'd like to thank you, welcome you to the fold, and welcome you to the business. We'll be back tomorrow night and probably later this week, so you are welcome to call in. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We've been on here for a little bit. I wanted to take this opportunity to let you all know so we can go in depth about this. Ladies, 2021 is going to be hard, but you do have one thing going for you. It's going to be a rough ride, but you got one thing that is going for you in your favor. You got me. You've got me. You've got a phone number you can call, and you've actually got reliable insights and analysis that will actually be able to help you. The young lady from Egypt figured that out as well. So to all of you who are finally ready to, if you will, level up to the real thing, you definitely are invited to join us. If you haven't clicked that red subscribe button, you need to do that. Fully about half the people who are listening to me haven't subscribed. You're missing out. You need to be informed. You need to be notified when we're doing this. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Make sure you choose to get all notifications, not select notifications. Click those buttons so that you can join together in what we do right here. We're going to be back at this tomorrow night. So if you didn't get enough of it tonight, hang on to your hats. We're going to be back here tomorrow night discussing how good girls destroyed marriage. It's going to be very insightful, a lot of details there. Ladies, don't get too triggered, but do get triggered enough to give me a call because you need to get gamed up about this. And also, the Six Figure Men's Club DC edition. We lit things up when we did Los Angeles. You all know that was a wild program. We're getting ready for DC. We're getting ready to gear up for that. You're going to want to hang on for it. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. And to my people who are already subscribers, remember, YouTube has us under a shadow ban because we're not moist. We are not shameless, brainless swirlers, and we are not towing the company line. So we want your help with this. Make sure you share our program. A lot of foolishness gets shared out there. Erroneous, wrong information. People who don't have proper insights, or at worst, are trying to be an imitation of me. And their brain dead folk are still following that. Just understand, Get it from the place where all these other fellas have been getting it from all this time. This is your time to be getting it straight here. So make sure you share what we do here. Very, very important. We're the best at what we do. There's a reason that they're ripping us off. Click that red subscribe button. Join us again tomorrow night. We'll be here. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember...
Yeah, what's up? This your homeboy Ice Cube, man. Don Mega. I want to give a shout out to Jason Black. I understand you keep your 10 toes down. Yeah, man, haters gonna hate and builders gonna build, man. Keep chasing that power, wealth, and influence. It's 7 a.m., man. Handle your business, or it's gonna handle you.
Handle your business, or your business will handle you.